Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Donegal deputy says the government can and must intervene to cut energy costs. Sinn Féin will bring forward a motion to the Dáil tomorrow to urge the government to provide support as people struggle with sky-high bills. Deputy Pearse Doherty says a sensible measure has been adopted in Europe, which the Irish government has failed to replicate.
We, on the other hand, haven't provided that certainty. Our government hasn't done that, but there's still time to do that. And I don't think it's acceptable to leave workers and families to the mercy of these astronomical prices over the coming months. And that's why there needs to be an intervention from government to reduce electricity prices for consumers.
Gardaí in Donegal are urging motorists to continue to adhere to the temporary speed limit in place on one of the main arteries into Letterkenny. Due to ongoing roadworks on the 4-lane route, the speed limit has been reduced to 50 kilometres per hour. Yesterday, while conducting speed checks on the road, the Letterkenny Roads Policing Unit detected a number of drivers speeding at double the temporary speed limit. Gardaí say fixed charge penalty notices were issued for the offences. They're asking drivers to slow down to protect themselves, other motorists and passengers, and to protect those who are carrying out the roadworks. The last chance for people to have their say on the town centre first plan for Milford is this week. The plan will be regeneration and renewal focused with a view to strengthening the role, image, vibrancy, vitality and resilience of Milford Town Centre. Ellen Butler has more.
The Town Centre First plan for Milford is being developed in line with national policy and will put placemaking at the centre of the value proposition for the town as a means of enabling and attracting investment and regeneration. It'll provide for the convergence of community vision, business interests, local knowledge and key stakeholder and local authority expertise in co-designing a roadmap for the regeneration and future development of Milford, together with the more detailed design of actions in respect of key sites. The first stage of public consultation, which will inform the preparation of the draft Town Centre First plan, will close on Thursday at 4 p.m. More information is available on the project's website, milfordtowncentrefirst.com, where anyone interested can leave comments or complete a questionnaire.
Weather now, hazy sunny spells this morning with outbreaks of rain moving in, turning colder and clearer later with highest temperatures of just 4 or 5 degrees. A nationwide status yellow ice warning is due to come into effect at 6 o'clock this evening. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 till Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning. It's 4 minutes past 9, about to turn 5 minutes past 9. You're very welcome along to another week of The 9 till Noon Show. It's Monday, the 6th of March, 2023. How are you keeping? How was your weekend? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts that number. Give us a call too on 07491 25,000 if you want to comment on the show or raise an issue with us or just get in contact, you know yourself. And your emails to comments at highlandradio.com. Later on, we have the first of our 4 finalists as we search for a local musical hero to represent us here in the region at a major national competition. We've got them live in studio from 10:30. You can watch their performance as well, by the way, as the rest of the programme by logging on to your smart TV, Fire Stick. Watch us on Facebook Watch or YouTube. Just search Highland Radio Ireland or on your tablet or phone or wherever you are. You know what? Pop us up on your work computer. We'll not tell anyone. Anyway, a little later on as well, and you'll also want to be watching for this. We have, of course, had our community hero competition. Everything's got hero in the title. It's a bit confusing or community, but you know what I mean. We had our competition whereby, thanks to our friends at iMotors in association with us here at Highland Radio, we sought your nominations for a hero, really, to have access to a beautiful brand new Nissan car for a year. Now, we were supposed to announce it a week ago, but because of the person being so incredibly busy, we didn't get the handover done till the weekend. But we have it on video, we have it on audio, so all of you out there in Radio Land, of course, you'll be able to hear that just after 10. But if you also wanted to watch it as well and see the reactions and all that kind of stuff, we are also streaming it as a video for those of you who watch the programme regularly or those who want to tune in for that, right? So plenty of ways to take it all in. There's an awful lot else, more as well coming up in the programme, of course. Right, let's kick off with a look at the newspapers. The Derry People Donegal News Monday edition. The number of people screened for cervical cancer in Donegal last year is down 22% when compared to the previous year. Figures from the National Screening Service have revealed. Figures provided to the paper show that in 2022 there were 7,301 cervical check screenings in Donegal compared to 9,444 in 21. Now, I wonder what this is down to. Were people delayed? Did we have a particularly high figure in 2021 because people maybe didn't get them in 2020? I don't know the ins and outs of it. We'll certainly tease it out, and there's more in the paper here. I'll read on, actually, because, of course, the paper has sought some clarity on this. Chair of Donegal Action for Cancer Care, Betty Holmes, said she's deeply concerned by this dramatic decrease in people being screened in the county. To have a drop of 2,113 people being screened is terrifying. Reading the figures truly knocked the wind out of me, Ms. Holmes told the Donegal News. As I say, it'll be interesting to see the pattern over the last few years as to what might have contributed to that. On to the Derry News this morning. The newly refurbished Cinematic Arts Studio at Ulster University's Derry campus has been named after former Secretary of State for Northern Ireland and Labour politician, the late Mo Mowlam. The studio was officially opened on Friday ahead of the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. Wonder when it became the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. I always thought it was the Good Friday Agreement. Now it's the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. Is that something that was done purposely, or is it just language that has been adopted over time? Maybe is it dependent on your political or religious background as to whether you call it the Belfast or the Good Friday Agreement? I probably should know this, but it just seems the norm now. It's on the front of page. It's the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. The university launch of the studio in her name and unveiling of a new mural is a celebration of Mo Mullen's lasting impact and legacy. On to the nationals now, and Catholic primary school managers say their pupils should not be taught what it means to be transgender in a strongly worded letter sent to government ministers. Now, I suspect the majority of people listening would back the schools in this regard. Amid a controversy over how the gender identity issue should be addressed, the post-primary students, they've sent a clear signal about what they deem appropriate for primary pupils. Now, whatever we and however we teach children, okay, it's not up to one person or me to have a particular opinion, but something this fundamental, especially as these young people are approaching, as anyone who's gone through the teenage years know, it's a very tough and confusing time. Whatever we're doing at the moment, it's never been tougher to be a teenager, seemingly, because as we've referenced on this show numerous times, and I will continue to do so because I think it's really significant, we have record numbers of young people, teenagers, presenting with self-harm or presenting with a mental illness, right? So whatever is happening, whatever we're doing at the moment, we need to revisit that, okay? So obviously, then I would probably share some of the concerns that, and I'm not saying, by the way, people who are transgender are confused, all right? I'm not saying that. There's different ways we can approach this is what I'm trying to get at here. But I think we have to be very careful with how we're speaking to children in schools and what we're speaking to them about and what are they capable of comprehending and what is actually positive for them and what is potentially negative. And we need to be able to, like all other issues, have the conversation openly and everyone to have their views. It's not about mudslinging or name calling or calling people this, that and the other. It's about what is right for all children, all young people. What is it good for them to know? What information is good for them to have in their head? What can they actually process? Because I don't think we, regardless of what the topic is, I don't think if you're going by the figures, I don't think what we're doing at the moment is working very well because we have more sick children. We've got more children who are mentally ill. We've got more children who are self-harming. So, as I say, we need to approach all these issues, various issues, anything, I think, complicated carefully. But the Catholic Primary Schools Management Association has argued there is a lack of scientific consensus on the issue that it would create division in schools and that it might add to a growing psychological contagion among children. This is in contrast with those who have campaigned for increased teaching of gender diversity in primary school. In a recent interview with the Irish Independent, Children's Minister Roderick O'Gorman said young people, including primary pupils, should have an understanding of diversity and should be taught more what it means to be transgender. But why not, again, and this is not talking specifically to this issue, we need to just teach children to respect other people, don't we? I mean, do we have to get into the nitty-gritty of all the various issues? You know, basically, we all have to treat each other equally and fairly. Is that not, if you instill those morals, does that not cover everything, but it doesn't really leave them maybe confused or what have you? I don't know. What do you all think out there? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Emails, by the way, to comments@highlandradio.com. On to the Irish Times now, and apparently the coalition is divided over options to cut private car usage. Coalition tensions are growing over plans to reduce private car usage, with ministers set to discuss a new strategy at Cabinet tomorrow. Green Party Minister Eamon Ryan's expected to bring a memo to Cabinet that will include an annex to the government's climate plan, setting out how and when climate measures can be achieved. One aspect of this will include a commitment to develop a demand management strategy in transport, detailing the way in which the country can move to end congestion and change the way road space is used, which is gobbledygook really for charging you out of your car effectively. The plan would see priority given to public transport, cycling and walking as part of government aims to give people viable alternatives to using the car for every journey. Now, this is obviously city-based, but maybe they could look at a town like Letterkenny and use it as an example. So, you know, this is not necessarily just a Dublin thing. Modelling work has been completed, which details options including congestion charges, the pedestrianisation of urban centres, cheaper public transport, fuel price increases and higher car parking charges to achieve their goals. Well, I very rarely visit Dublin, and if they start all that, my biannual visit might become never. The Irish Daily Mail now, hundreds of refugee property offers are rejected. Refugees Minister Roderick O'Gorman needs to be far less fussy when it comes to accepting accommodation, senior colleagues have warned. The message was delivered as unease in the Cabinet has grown over the government's chaotic response to the growing refugee housing crisis. As options as diverse as tented cities and cruise ships are considered, ministers are especially annoyed over the fussiness from officials in Mr O'Gorman's department in accepting offers of property. A series of Dáil questions by Sinn Féin TD David Cullinane revealed hundreds of properties have been rejected. Mr Cullinane's questions, it's Cullinane, isn't it? Questions across all departments were tabled after it was claimed departments had not, turn to page 4, nothing on page 4, it's page 3, had not responded to a call by Mr O'Gorman prior to Christmas for properties to house refugees. The Irish Daily Mirror now, murder probe as body found in burning house. This is the shocking story out of Mayo. A man has been arrested on suspicion of murder after a body with a suspected gunshot wound was found at a house last night. The grim discovery of the male in his 80s was made after emergency services had responded to reports of a fire at a property in Castlebar, County Mayo. Upon entering, they discovered the body of an elderly man. His remains were still at the scene last night, pending a Garda forensic investigation. It's understood that the victim, a pensioner in his 80s, died from a gunshot wound. The property on the Westport Road has been sealed off, and a state pathologist is due to carry out a post-mortem. And that story's developed sort of overnight in terms of the background. Some background details in that case. We're trying to bring them to you a little later on in this programme. It is going to get colder, as you mentioned. I'm sure it's nothing we can't handle. We handle different weather all the time quite well, don't we? But Ireland is bracing for a messy week of weather as a freezing Arctic blast slaps us with icy cold conditions. Meteorn issued a yellow ice warning lasting from 6 p.m. tonight until 10 a.m. tomorrow. The National Forecaster's alert said there will be hazardous conditions due to freezing temperatures, including icy stretches on roads and paths. We are likely to get any wintry showers that are going, so sleety stuff. So, and I'm speaking to myself in saying this too, we'll all have to allow a little extra time, maybe in the morning, to get to school or to get to work, as we've been warned, haven't we? Finally, we must all have plenty of money, don't we? Because 104 million has gone unclaimed from the lottery. 104 million that should be ours. I'll take a 500,000. What's that, about 0.3 or 4%? Give me 500,000 and you can argue over the 103.5 million. The Irish Daily Star tells us that more than 104 million Irish National Lottery prize money went unclaimed in the last 6 years, figures show. That being said, I found 2 scratch cards, out-of-date scratch cards yesterday with €4 on them. So, I mean, I'm only one person, €4 added up, I suppose. All of the lucrative cash went back to the lottery operator Premier Lotteries Ireland in accordance with the rules of their licence after officials couldn't trace the winners. The unclaimed winnings included scratch cards, although no precise number of card winners was disclosed because of security difficulties in tracing them. Individual winners, however, could be identified to an area because of the shop where the winning lotto ticket was sold, and the lottery would initiate a local marketing campaign to try and find them. So 104 million, that's not so bad, is it? The 17 million went unclaimed last year in 2021, 17 million in 2020, 8.9 million in 2019, 18.9 million in 2018, 16.1 million in 2017, 16.3 million in 2016. The figures are very similar over years, aren't they? It's quite peculiar, that. Right, so that's not it. Do you know, funny enough, yesterday, just looking at the back of the papers there, Mo Salah's got his top off. I never drink 7-Up, ever. This is the truth, by the way. It's not having a dig. I never, ever drink 7-Up. I'd say the last can of 7-Up I had was maybe 3-4 years ago. But I was in Bundoran, driving through, stopped, bought a can of 7-Up, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, who's the fella that gets seen to the future? I don't know who it is anyway. But anyway, I literally predicted the future, 7-0. Liverpool beat Manchester United, and I had a can of 7-Up for the first time in years. So it's the evidence is you can't argue with it. I obviously affected the outcome of that game. But anyway, there's a few sore heads one way or other this morning, I'd imagine. Right, back with our first guest shortly.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Are you ready to experience something extraordinary? Cultural gems in Croatia, ancient temples in Asia, art in Italy. Anything and everything is possible with Travel Department. Pick a destination and a date and we'll take care of everything. Flights, accommodation, excursions, expert local guides and all that planning. For guided group tours to dream destinations, book today at traveldepartment.com. Irish owned and operated for over 25 years. Travel Department. Let's see more.
Hello, thanks for waiting. Could you hold the line?
Yeah, no problem.
Now, how can I help you?
Hi, I'm looking to make some updates to my insurance policy.
Have you tried our online portal?
I thought it would be easier to call.
Yeah. No. You're going to have to log on to amend your policy. Thanks for calling.
No, wait. I don't know my password.
Get the feeling that your insurer doesn't want to talk to you? At Local Insurance, we understand your needs. Call today for a bespoke quote or find us online at localinsurance.ie. Local Insurance, we'll get you sorted. The Local Insurance Network, DAC Trading's Local Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Local Insurance is a tied insurance intermediary of Acorn Brokerage Limited. Acorn Brokerage Limited, trading as Acorn Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
At On Post, we believe in giving you more power over how you bank. That's why AIB and Bank of Ireland customers can now lodge and withdraw money at any of our 900 post offices across Ireland 6 days a week. That's right, your bank is in your post office for personal and business banking alike, meaning you can bank wherever you live or work. Visit your local post office or onpost.com/everydaybanking. On Post, your money for your world. Allied Irish Banks plc and Bank of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
OK, Sinn Féin is planning to bring forward a motion this week calling on the government to reduce electricity prices for households to their pre-Ukraine war levels of June 2021. The party's finance spokesperson is Pierce Doherty. He joins us now. Pierce, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Greg.
Thanks for coming on the programme. Right, how do you propose we do this? Who picks up the tab effectively? Because, obviously what they're charging now versus what you want to charge, there's a gap there.
Yeah, well, first of all, we have to probably recognise what's happening across Europe, Greg. And for well over a year now, the European Commission, when the energy prices started to increase, and they started to increase, we know why they're increasing, obviously, it's because the war in Ukraine. And even before the war in Ukraine, Russia was using energy as a geopolitical weapon in advance of its invasion of Ukraine. So what the European Commission has said to member states is they brought out this thing which is called a toolbox, and they said some of the things that you can do is you can intervene in the energy market. So countries across Europe have done that. So we've seen it in Poland, we've seen it in Austria, we've seen it in France, and we've seen it over Christmas in Germany and Netherlands. Now, Germany is obviously not a kind of a socialist country or anything like that. They're quite conservative. They're very fiscally prudent, but they have given their citizens certainty. So how these countries have done it, and they all vary, and we're suggesting that probably the German model is the best. But what they do is they basically say that the price of electricity is going to be this amount. So regardless of what happens because of the war in Ukraine, we're giving our citizens certainty, because electricity is so important to your lives, that this is the cost of electricity. And this will apply to, in Germany, for example, it's 85% of your household consumption. So it's not about promoting, leaving the lights on. Not that anybody would be doing that anyway, even with the old prices. But so it's that idea. And that's what countries right across Europe have done. As I said, Germany and Netherlands were the last to do it.
How is it funded, Piers? Who funds that?
So it's funded by the taxpayers. That's what happens. It's funded by the state. It's an intervention to support families and workers during a time of war, just the same way that other measures that were introduced to offset the war in Ukraine, whether it's the support for energy for businesses, so like at the minute there's a support package there for businesses. It was supposed to cost 1.2 billion euro. Didn't really work. It's been retweaked at the minute. All of that comes from taxpayers' money. The energy credit comes from taxpayers' money. So this is about and there is a recognition that because of the war in Ukraine, because of high inflation, governments right across Europe have had to step in.
But why should we bail out the electricity companies? I mean, why should we pay for it? And when I say we, I mean us, the taxpayer.
Well, first of all, you're not bailing out the electricity companies, because part of this here is also joined by what we've been calling for the last year, which is a windfall tax on the profits that these energy companies are making. Again, this was one of the things that was in the European Commission toolbox. Some member states moved ahead themselves.
Just to help me out here, if we are making sure they can charge us pretty much whatever they want, and that's okay, we'll hit them with a windfall tax as well. Where's the encouragement for, firstly, for things to change in how they buy and sell electricity, but to reduce prices? Like, where would the goodwill come from them to say, all right, okay, well, let's pass on, so they'll just continue charging as they will because they can. And it's just a circle of our money being given to them. We take that money back off them and give it to them, and so on and so forth. And it's the taxpayer who is paying all of this effectively.
Well, actually, by introducing the type of windfall taxes that are either applicable in member states already, for example, Italy brought in a windfall tax, which was that if you charge above the rate before the crisis in Ukraine, then we will tax you X amount. But what the European Commission has done is they've basically allowed for a cap to be placed in relation to the price that can be charged. So that idea, if you bring in this type of measure alongside your cap and your windfall tax, then you don't have that situation. And look,
okay, so because I'm not great with numbers, and you can help me understand this, and maybe it'll help with listeners. So I'm charging you €1 for something, right? Okay, but you think I should be only charging you 50 cents. So you tax me, right? So you tax me at 60% or something, and I'm left with 40 cents, but I keep charging you the euro. So you is that not the same money that's going around in a circle there, effectively? No.
Well, yeah, basically, it's costing the state less money to actually support these families because you're taking the money back off them. The whole idea about a windfall.
Yeah, but I'm still. I still am complete though.
No, well, you're not getting your profits, as you say. If you're charging me €1 and I'm taxing you 60 cents, then you're only getting the 40. The whole idea of a windfall tax is it's actually a disincentive It's a disincentive to that type of aggressive.
I get you. So before we get through that, right?
And just to make this point here, because the government kind of throw out kind of lines and saying like this would be kind of giving money to energy companies. Germany wouldn't be doing this. France wouldn't be doing this. Austria wouldn't be doing it. Countries right across Europe wouldn't be doing it if that was the case. This is about supporting families and households. And you have to, if you listen to what the St. Vincent de Paul said just recently, the number of families who can't heat their homes last year has doubled. And that's the reality. Like, we've been showing bills, Greg, in the Dáil to the minister where, Kitty, for example, I raised it with the minister, the Taoiseach, on Thursday. Kitty had a bill of close to €1,000. We've other constituents that are coming to us with bills of €630. This is the third time they've seen their bills increase. It's gone up. It's nearly, it's gone from 150 to 300 to 450, and now it's at 630. And they basically don't know where to turn. So there is the need for this type of certainty for individuals, and there's also a need for the capping of the profits that the energy company can use.
Right. Okay. How does the whole electricity thing work then? Who? I asked this question last week. Maybe you can answer. Right. Obviously, electricity companies buy or hedged and bought expensive electricity. I won't keep you very much longer, Pierre, because I'm sure there's a few things you need to get to. At what point do you know how much they buy for how long in advance? Have they began buying the cheaper fuel now? The cheaper electricity now? Is there a crossover? Could they not charge us a medium? Or when does the cheaper... there's no transparency here. We don't, do they have 2 years of this expensive electricity? Is there any penalty for them getting it wrong? For hedging their bets with our money, effectively, it feels like. Again, sorry if there's ignorance in that question, but I mean, we're trying to fix a problem, but what's the cause of the problem is really what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah, so what we've, at the very start, this time probably last year, we were engaging with some energy companies, and they were telling us very clearly, and the regulator of energy as well, that these companies buy in advance. Typically, what we were told by one of the large companies is they're buying about 9 months in advance. So at the invasion of the war in Ukraine, when people were going to see those prices increase, was around October period. And that's really what happened, if people remember back. Now, prices were increasing all during the summer, and the reason prices were increasing is because there was inflation and Putin was turning off the gas and all the rest before that and lead up to the invasion of Ukraine. So should prices be decreasing? Absolutely. If you take January of last year, so that's over a year ago now, the wholesale market price, that's the price that you buy gas, was 20% cheaper than it is now. Mm-hmm. So therefore, but people aren't seeing that in their bills. Actually, our listeners are seeing the highest ever electricity bills that they've ever experienced. So these bills should be down by now, in my view. Also, you've seen further drops since January of this year. Or since December, for example, which is just over 4 months ago, you're looking at a 40% decrease in terms of wholesale prices. So what does that mean for consumers? It means that in the next number of months, prices should be coming down.
See, the thing is though, they should be able to tell us, or they should be compelled to tell us, they know how much electricity is used and they know how much they paid for it, right? They should be able to say, on the 14th of such and such a month, the electricity is going to return to this price because that's the point we were actually able to buy it cheaper. Surely they can work out how... I'm just viewing it as expensive electricity that they've bought running out, okay, just in the most simplest of terms. They should be able to give us some sort of indication or knowledge of that.
They absolutely should. Now, they may be prevented from doing so, Greg, in relation to competition rules.
Of course, but an indication, we're reviewing our prices on.
And just like this time last year, I was kind of able to say that we're likely to see increases in September, October period, because that's where the energy companies were kind of leading you to. If you follow the wholesale markets, then you should have an idea of when prices are being reduced. Prices aren't being reduced. Why? Because there's no incentive for them to do that. They keep all of the profits. When we were putting forward, Greg, the idea of a windfall profit tax on these energy companies last year, the Minister for Finance argued against it. He said it would be counterproductive. He actually argued that it would put up prices of energy on consumers. And it's only after the European Commission moved in late last year and said, look, Europe has to do this and come out with their 6-point plan that the government are now dealing with this issue. We still haven't got any legislation, and it's still not clear whether the massive profits that they recorded last year, which is when most of this was baked in, is actually going to be taxed. But until you bring out that kind of stick approach, then these companies are going to do what the companies are going to do, and that is they're going to maximize profits. You can see it from all the large generators right across Europe, some of them international, global footprints. The amount of profits and increased profits is actually eye-watering what's happened at this point in time, and it's happening because governments have allowed them to do that.
So just very, very finally then, right, surely we have an insight here. The state has quite a decent stake in the ESB, does it not?
It does, and ESB is, like, we also have to remember that a lot of companies that people pay their bill to, that you'll see your 500, 600 euro bills come through, they're basically selling on electricity and gas. It's the wholesale market. It's the generators who are making huge profits, but the suppliers can also be making profits here as well. But there's other options in terms of the ESB and trying to ensure the ESB that it reduce their cost again. When we put this,
so we can go in and open up their books and we'll know everything that's going on.
Yeah, when we put it to government in relation to that, government should be saying to ESB that they shouldn't be making increased profits during this period. They say, but this is required for investment in renewables and the transition and so on and so forth. And that's all really important stuff. But we are in the middle of a crisis. We're in the middle of a cost of living crisis at this point in time. And energy prices are at eye-watering levels. Households are really, really being crippled. And government needs to do everything that it can. And what we're doing, Greg, with this motion is we're pointing out to your listeners, but also to members of the Dáil, that right across Europe has taken a different approach to what the Irish government have done. They have introduced a certainty for people, which is no matter what happens in the markets, whether the prices go up or down, you are certain over the next period that this is going to be the unit price of your electricity for X amount that you consume your home. That's really important. It's really important for people who are trying to juggle all.
Have you any concerns about, very finally, have you any concerns about the legality of the windfall tax? Because it is being challenged in different places, and some people seem to be suggesting that it could be a complicated path to go down.
No, I don't think it will. As long as it's universal and as long as it applies to everybody, a member state has the right to tax, has the right to tax profits. Where it becomes tricky is in relation to retrospective tax and all of that. But the government were able to introduce retrospective tax on the US on the pandemic unemployment payments that were paid to people who lost their jobs. So I'm not as concerned in relation to that if it's designed properly. And these have applied, windfall taxes have applied for years, indeed for decades in different guides across Europe. All
right, listen, thanks for so much of your time. Have a lovely day, and we'll follow with interest later in this week as to how things progress there. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts to that number.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
At Shannon Airport, we know what makes a dream holiday. It's not just the huge choice of destinations like Chicago, Paris, Newcastle, Naples, Barcelona and Porto. It's the hassle-free experience that makes getting through our airport a dream. So whatever dream holiday you're packing for, head for shannonairport.ie. Shannon Airport, making it easy.
PDO Thread Lifts, the ultimate non-surgical lift for the skin, improving facial contours, lifting and tightening jowls, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Eudore. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat-dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Eudore, 07495 325 75.
Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring are 25 years old, and to celebrate we're offering up to 70% off across all tiles, wood flooring and bathware. And each week 25 lucky customers will win their order for free. That's right, for free. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring, up to 70% off birthday sale now on.
Bingo Monday night at the Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot. Doors open 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. Snowball is now €2,000 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
Okay, just to remind you that we have the first of our 4 finalists coming on the show as we search for a local music hero who will go on to represent us at a national competition. Looking forward to that. Tell Piers people started to get tired of all his talk, never any action, says a listener. Another, there's currently a view that windfall tax is illegal and that the imposition of backdated taxation is unconstitutional and unlawful. The Attorney General is currently looking at saying, I would like to hear Piers Doherty's view on the unlawful imposition of backdated taxes. Well, he did reference that, and also, I'd go for a second opinion if it were me as well, as the Attorney General's. Hi, Greg. As a Sinn Féin supporter, I find it strange that Sinn Féin are now anti-Russia. Since the formation of the party, Russia-Soviet Union was a very close ally. All right, okay. Good morning, Greg. I would go one further and say we shouldn't pay a single bill. How much profits should they be allowed to make, says a caller. Hi, Greg. Electricity's so dear. So who's paying for other electricity there? Okay, I get where you're coming from. Good morning, Greg. With the amount of profits these companies are making, surely our government should push for free electricity for public use for a year. At least we were people who propped up business bills for years and are being given back a measly €50 in credit, which is a joke. I don't want the credit. I want the money. I paid. How do I go about it? I can't pay them in a credit. Well, there's a €200 a credit coming in over March and April. But I take your point. The only thing is if you do have something that's completely free, would it be abused then? I don't know. 086 60 25,000. Very quick break, then our next guests are with us.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
If I learned one thing in the last year, it's that falling into debt can happen to anyone. Luckily, I heard about the ISI, the Insolvency Service of Ireland. Their professional advisors can help you restructure or even write off your debt. The first thing they said to me was, every debt problem has a solution. I can still feel the relief. So if you're worried, visit their website backontrack.ie or free text Get Help to 50015.
The ISI. Together, we'll get you back on track. This is an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Some sports demand resilience, grit, power. Cheltenham demands it all. And this is William Hill Racing at Cheltenham. Get our top price guarantee against selected bookmakers on all championship races. It's who you play with, William Hill.
Top prices from 9am 27th of February 23 until the start of each of the 4 championship races compared to selected competitors. Standard win market odds only. Excludes competitor offers. Further terms apply. 18 plus for advice and information. Visit gamblingcare.ie.
The world awaits you. Make that dream your next adventure. Cruise the Caribbean. Sail from Crete to Corsica. Soak in Santorini sunsets. Dine on the shores of the Indian Ocean. Stroll through cobbled streets for hidden gems, or bring the little ones to a magical wonderland. Trust the award-winning Atlantic Travel to guide your next adventure. Step through our doorway to the world. Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny.
BizPrint now offer printed mugs, cotton bags, rulers and pens. They make printing easy and affordable with quality colour printing to suit all businesses and budgets. Call BizPrint in Letterkenny on 91 77955 or visit bizprint.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect to 80 plus destinations worldwide, including Boston and New York. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, hazy sunny spells with well-scattered showers to start today, with outbreaks of rain moving in from the north, turning colder and clearer behind the rain with temperatures of just 4 or 5 degrees. Light to moderate northwesterly breezes, turning very cold in the evening with icy stretches developing. Now our next guest is innocent Omehangi joins us now. Good morning, Innocent. Can you hear me okay? Hello, just unmute for me, if you don't mind. You're just muted there for the time being, and then I will speak to you. Aidan is our assistant here. Can you hear me now, Innocent?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning. I'm grateful to be on live on Highland Radio. I'm calling in from Dongen. Nice to meet you.
And it's good to have you here. Originally from Uganda, what do you do there? What is your trade, your business?
Yeah, I'm from Uganda. We do tea, we grow tea. I'm a producer from Sub-Saharan Africa, where we grow tea. Thank you.
And what you make the raw product, do you? The tea leaves, which are then given to the tea makers, or do you actually produce the tea and sell it?
Yeah, yes. First of it all, I wanted to say that I'm Innocent Omhand, the Fair Trade Ambassador for International, and a producer and a worker for Kayonza Growers Tea Factory from Uganda. We grow tea in our farms, our gardens. We have 8,000 farmers who grow tea on a daily basis, who pluck teas, who process this tea, and we market our tea here in Europe. So we are the source of the tea that wherever. Thank you.
And how important is this Fair Trade Fortnight, do you think?
I want to thank the organizers of Fair Trade Fortnight for this year. It has been a pleasure for me to participate in this because it creates a sustainable supply chain whereby you bring in a producer, you bring in a supplier, you bring in a consumer. So it is an opportunity for to appreciate the role of Fair Trade Ireland, Fair Trade International, to bring up the chain that has not been on for a long time, because we are faced with problems like climate change, social injustices, and inequalities, whereby there is a gap in women and youth. There is a gap. There is an issue.
Okay, the line is a little bit...
A future problem, but today's problem. So this fair trade embraces everybody on in this chain to work together to see that our world is sustainably created. Yeah.
I mean, the organisations that work in the area of fair trade and these fortnights, these 2 weeks to promote it is very important. But presumably what we need to is to get to a point whereby this is the norm. This is normal, that we do not have to, specifically encourage people. Does that make sense?
Of course, if this fair trade is not embraced all over the world, we shall create shortage of products like tea, coffee, and cocoa. There is a lot of food insecurity because of poor practices. So fair trade comes in to encourage social justice, climate change mitigation, and it is really of good concern that communities, towns, are brought on board to embrace fair trade, because you are not only being fair to others, but you are being fair to yourself, because this is a sustainable business that will bring coffee, that will bring tea on your table in the next generation. And this, if not done, we will see scarcity of these products in supermarkets on your table, and we shall be regretting. So it's high time. It is a good sentiment that fair trade is here to embrace the supply chain, to create connectivity, to appreciate the role of fairness. Yeah.
Has this initiative helped farmers and workers to get a decent amount of money for the work that they do?
I cannot hear you very well.
I will say the question one more time. It's the last question because the connection's breaking a little. Is fair trade working? In other words, is the situation improving for farmers and workers so they feel they are getting a fair payment for their efforts?
Of course, fair trade is the way to go. Of course, we understand there are some still gaps because consumers are still very low. They go for conventional products than fair trade. So the role of this fortnight is to encourage communities, local leaders, government leaders to widen the market of fair trade, that when anybody goes to the supermarket, when anybody goes to the tea shop, the coffee shop, buys fair trade products, because the 50 cents that you pay above the normal price, the conventional price, has an impact to do in developing our youth, in mitigating climate change. Trade is done. So you want to do much because you want to be fair to yourself, you want to be fair to others, and this is the way to go. This is a sustainable production that we must embrace for years and for generations. Otherwise, if we don't do that, of course, we want to have no tea, we want to have no coffee on our table, and sustainability is something that we must embrace, because and the determinant of sustainability is the final consumer to demand for sustainable products, for fair trade products on the market.
Okay. It's lovely to have you here in Ireland. You'll be speaking to people and spreading the word. We apologise for the cold weather. I'm not sure what the temperature is in Uganda at the moment, but it's getting very cold here in Donegal. So stay wrapped up. You might have to put another polo neck and jumper and coat on, I think.
It's my pleasure to be in Ireland, in Donegal.
Okay, thank you so very much indeed. Slight apologies for the breaking down of the line there. That was Innocent Omahangi, who is over in Ireland, of course, as a speaker. And it's all to support the Bonkrana efforts. Changemakers have invited Ugandan tea farmer Innocent there to Inishowen to speak to the community about how important it is to them that we buy fair trade items where possible. I'm going to keep an extra lookout in that regard. It doesn't seem always obvious to me what is a fair trade product and what isn't, but certainly I'll keep that in my consideration. The first event taking place today is at 1 p.m. It's in the Exchange Bonkrana. It's a public event and everyone's invited to come along and listen as to what Innocent has to say and how local people's shopping choices make a difference to people in his community in Uganda. So in other words, he's come over from Uganda so you can see the difference your shopping choices can make. Right, okay. We're joined on the programme now by Fiona O'Malley, CEO of Turn to Me. Good morning, Fiona. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you keeping?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the Turn to Me charity. Tell us a little bit more about it.
So Turn to Me was founded in 2009 and it stemmed from the personal and the tragic experiences of Oisin and Diarmuid scholars who very sadly lost their brother Cormac to suicide. And they wanted to set up a charity that offered people free, accessible and professional mental health services without the traditional barriers to mental health services in Ireland. So they set up Turn to Me in 2009. And since it was set up, it has helped over 120,000 people in Ireland. So we offer free counselling sessions and free support groups on anxiety and depression and grief and relationship issues.
Yes, and it's important to let people be aware that, whilst Highland Radio, the Irish Times, RT, whatever, might try and talk about mental health services, in other words, that we need to do more. We always need to do more, okay? We have to be really careful in doing so that we don't give the impression to people who might need help that there is no help available. That if we talk of one case where someone had to wait 6 months to see someone from CAMS, that's not the case all the time. In other words, in an immediate crisis, there is help there. That's what people need to know and understand.
Yeah, there is. The CAMS situation is awful. The waiting lists are really, really long and unacceptably long. What I know, some of my, they're not colleagues, but some of my peers who work in those organisations, they are just up to their eyes. They're all doing, obviously, the best that they can. They're certainly running to the ground. But, as you say, not every mental health charity has a waiting list. Like Turn to Me, we don't have a waiting list. So we offer up to 6 free counselling sessions to everyone in Ireland. We also offer paid counselling sessions if people can afford to pay for them. That's great. So people can create an account with us on the Turn to Me website, and they can see immediately the counselling slots that are available. We also offer free unlimited support groups, as I alluded to earlier, on anxiety, depression, grief and relationship issues. And the thing about the support groups, they're great. They don't have waiting lists either. So you can log on and create an account with us. You can register for the support groups on the same day as attending them. So I can log in and say I want to sign up for a support group today, and I can attend that support group today at 6 p.m. this evening. So there's no waiting list for those services either.
So if someone is in a crisis, an immediate crisis, is Turn to Me a good port of call, or would that be more for maybe addressing the issues through counselling? Because obviously we want to make sure everyone gets the right advice for where they might be at any given time. So if someone is feeling that they can no longer go on, okay, that it's a crisis situation, would Turn to Me be the one of the first protocols? Would you see it as that type of service?
So we would work with people who have anxiety and who have levels of depression that aren't at the point of being actively suicidal, or people who don't have suicidal ideation. A service that would be more appropriate for those interventions would be a service like Pieta House, or probably an in-service, in-person service. We run all of our counselling sessions and all our support groups on our website through an online portal. So it might not be appropriate for people who are actively suicidal at that stage.
That is, just wanted to clarify that. And also too, this, just to remind people now, Turn to Me, it's a national mental health charity. There's no waiting list currently, okay? And you can get up to 6 free counselling sessions in Ireland. Unlimited free support groups on anxiety, depression, grief and relationship issues, which a lot of people live with. They think it's normal. They think a certain level of depression. Now, this is not feeling down on a given day. This is your mood being depressed, or anxiety, or I'm never going to get over my grief and I'm just going to live like that for the rest of my life. There are people walking around today that function very well, that believe that their lives, that is the way it is. But counselling can help.
It can help, absolutely it can help. And it's one of the common themes that we hear back from clients, which she kind of alluded to there, is some clients, when they sign up for our services, they would say, I put it off for so long. I didn't think I was bad enough for counselling. I didn't want to take up slots for people who were worse off than me. But counselling sessions and mental health support groups shouldn't be seen as a pie. Just because someone avails of our services doesn't mean they're not available to another person, first of all. And secondly, early intervention is the best preventative measure. So if you don't address your anxiety levels and try to get help, or your depression levels and try to get help, or indeed your grief levels and try to get help, they can escalate and they can take longer to address and to help in the long term. So we firmly support the concept of early intervention, and we would encourage everyone, if they're feeling anxious or they're feeling anxiety, don't wait for it to get worse. Please get that help. It's available. And we run free mental health services 365 days a year. They're there for people. Please avail of them.
Yeah, and maybe it's said so often that it kind of washes over people, but treat your mental health as your physical health. Now, of course, some of us neglect our physical health as well, don't get me wrong, but generally speaking, if something seems like, right, I need to get this checked. Do you know what I mean? But we need to also ensure that we do view our mental health the same way. As I say, it's said often and the message is out there, but I think sometimes it's said so much, or how it's said, it kind of goes past us a little bit. Okay, Fiona, the website, if people wish to make contact with Turn to Me and turn their life around potentially as well, the people that we talk of, it to get something off your chest, to speak to someone who gets it, goes, that happens, right? And then this can be done, and then you might feel like this. Well, I mean, what an amazing thing someone could do today and feel better in the next while.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone wants to avail of any of our free mental health services, they're available on our website, turntome.ie. That's turn2me.ie.
All right, listen, have a lovely Monday. Take care. Thank you very much indeed, Fiona O'Malley, CEO of Turn to Me there. Sue Carty is on the show. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. Remind us of Ohana Zero Suicide.
Greg, absolutely happy to. So Ohana Zero Suicide, it's a free online training, and really it supports you in recognising where somebody might need some support. And sometimes, you know, we might recognise someone maybe seems off form or something, but we might know how to approach it or what to say or how to have the conversation. So this is a free online training that supports you to have a conversation with somebody you might be concerned about and get them to support this. Show you care, ask the question, make the call.
Yeah.
So that's what
this is a compliment. This is a compliment to it, and not a disservice. It is simple. It's anyone can do this. It's common sense stuff, but it empowers. It reassures people. It gives people the confidence to know, you know, maybe how to react or what to say. It's empowering. Do you know what I mean? It confirms what people know. Maybe you might say it's common sense. But that being said, unless we sort of have a run through of it, challenge ourselves to answer questions or to remember things, you know, maybe we don't spot something when we need to spot something.
Well, absolutely. And look, sometimes speaking to someone who's maybe in bad form or that you're worried about, it can be a difficult thing to do. And you might not be sure maybe what to say or where to start. So this gives you a training to support you with that. And, you know, a lot of the thinking behind this is, like, it's great to tell people, you know, you need to talk to someone or make sure you talk to someone. But sometimes it might be hard for them to say. So for those of us that maybe, you know, are not struggling or in good form, or we see that somebody might be, that we maybe take some of that pressure off their shoulders and we give them the opening. We give them the start. And yeah, it's a free online training. People can just pop on to www.ohana.ie, and it takes you through some role plays, gives you some clear pointers, and takes you through those 3 steps, you know, so that you show you care. You start by having the conversation. You ask the questions that you need to ask, and it gives you some confidence in asking those questions. And then make the call, get the person to the help or the support that they need. And I must mention, Greg, that it was a fantastic Donegal woman, Angeline Collins Driver, who founded Ohana Zero Suicide and got a team of fantastic volunteers together and to make the training available. And we worked with the Zero Suicide Alliance in the UK. And recently we have added an online resource which is more targeted at the younger adult, like the third level student. So that's there as well, which I think will be of interest to people. And the feedback, the difference it makes for people is really positive, and nearly 1 million people have already accessed the training, and we launched it during COVID.
And I must do a refresher. My recollection is that, you know, if you work with the public as well, if you're sort of forward-facing, I seem to recall taxi drivers, I'm correct in that, aren't I? In other words, that people who might come across things more often than I might, for example, although with my job it would be quite regularly, but you know what I mean. There's all different types of people that this would be very useful for.
It gives you a number of different examples of situations that you might find yourself in, and gives you these are signs. Maybe this person is off form. Maybe I should say something. And you know, Greg, you might be in a situation with someone where you're wondering, should I say something? Should I not? Maybe I should leave them alone. And you might talk yourself out of it. This training supports you to actually say something and start a conversation. Because you know what? It's just a conversation, and it could make all the difference in the world for someone.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's Sue Carty, Director with Ohana Zero Suicide, and you can get more information by going onto the website ohana.ie. Okay, the news is going to be slightly late, unfortunately. I was distracted. I didn't look at the clock as closely as I could, but I wanted Sue to have as much time as possible to get that information out. ohana.ie, ohana.ie. Back with more after 10.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Take something old and make it new
with the Vacant Property Refurbishment Grant. Get up to €30,000 for a vacant property or €50,000 for a derelict property to help you create your new home. Plus, the scheme now includes cities, towns, villages and all rural areas, so there are more options than ever. Breathe new life into an old home. Head to gov.ie/vacancy for more information on how to apply. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
The perfect Mother's Day gift to see the one and only Tom Jones in Belfast. Join us as Highland Radio hit the road to see the timeless legend as he headlines Belsonic 2023, Friday 16th of June. Your trip includes luxury transfers, bed and breakfast in the 4-star Clayton Hotel Belfast and your standing ticket to the outdoor event. Contact us today on 074 9125,000 to see Tom Jones at Ormo Park Belfast, Friday 16th of June.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning. It's just gone 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. A Donegal deputy says the government can and must intervene to cut energy costs. Sinn Féin will bring forward a motion to the Dáil tomorrow, urging the government to provide support as people struggle with sky-high bills. Deputy Pearse Doherty says a sensible measure has been adopted in Europe, which he says the Irish government has failed to replicate.
The reason energy prices are being pushed up is because of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. So the European Commission recognised that these circumstances that member states could move in to provide this type of certainty for customers. We, on the other hand, haven't provided that certainty. Our government hasn't done that, but there's still time to do that. And I don't think it's acceptable to leave workers and families to the mercy of these astronomical prices over the coming months. And that's why there needs to be an intervention from government to reduce electricity prices.
Over 180 businesses, organisations and institutions in the Northwest have signed an open letter in support of the proposed upgrades to the A5, jointly organised by the chambers in Letterkenny and Derry. The open letter is signed by businesses across Derry, Donegal, Strabane, Omagh and the wider Northwest. It's been submitted to the North's Department for Infrastructure as part of its consultation and called for views on the A5 supplementary environmental information, which closed on Friday. The last chance for people to have their say on the Town Centre First plan for Milford is this week. The plan will be regeneration and renewal focused with a view towards strengthening the role, image, vibrancy, vitality and resilience of Milford Town Centre. With more, here's Ellen Butler.
The Town Centre First plan for Milford is being developed in line with national policy and will put placemaking at the centre of the value proposition for the town as a means of enabling and attracting investment and regeneration. It'll provide for the convergence of community vision, business interests, local knowledge and key stakeholder and local authority expertise in co-designing a roadmap for the regeneration and future development of Milford, together with the more detailed design of actions in respect of key sites. The first stage of public consultation, which will inform the preparation of the draft Town Centre First plan, will close on Thursday at 4 p.m. More information is available on the project's website, milfordtowncentrefirst.com, where anyone interested can leave comments or complete a questionnaire.
A man's being questioned about the discovery of a body in Mayo. He was detained on suspicion of murder following a house fire yesterday in Castlebar. Gardaí and Donegal are urging motorists to continue to adhere to the temporary speed limit in place on one of the main arteries into Letterkenny. Due to ongoing roadworks on the 4-lane route, the speed limit's been reduced to 50 kilometres an hour. Yesterday, while conducting speed checks on the road, the Letterkenny Roads Policing Unit detected a number of drivers speeding at double the temporary speed limit. Gardaí say fixed penalty notices were issued for the offences. They're asking drivers to slow down to protect themselves, other motorists and passengers, and to protect those who are conducting the roadworks. Landlords are leaving the market in their tens of thousands, according to an estate agents network. It comes as the coalition party leaders meet this evening to discuss whether to extend or scrap the evictions ban. It's due to expire at the end of March. It's thought it may be extended, with some exceptions, including student accommodation and private landlords who want to use their properties to house their families. Marion Finnegan is managing director at Sherry Fitzgerald. She believes the government could have handled the situation better.
the eviction ban, while I understand the principle behind it, which is to keep homelessness figures at a level, isn't actually providing a solution. Now, what would have been a good idea is if they brought in this measure back in October and actually brought in some other measures which would have encouraged landlords to remain in the marketplace.
Weather forecast and Met Éireann tell us there'll be some hazy spells this morning of sunshine, but outbreaks of rain intermittent as well. It'll turn colder and clearer in the afternoon with top temperatures of just 4 or 5 degrees Celsius, becoming very cold in the evening with a warning of some icy stretches developing. And that's Highland Radio News for now. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Monday morning, March the 6th. The death has taken place in Coventry, England, of Richard Doherty Little, formerly Tandragee Clonmany. His remains will arrive at the Bridgend border tomorrow evening at approximately 7 o'clock, going to St Mary's Church, Clonmany, to repose overnight. Funeral Mass on Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to St Colmkill Village, care of Comsky Funeral Directors. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Andy McGurk, 9 Owenray Drive, Strabane, reposing at his home. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow morning at 9:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Strabane Cemetery. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam at mcmmedia.tv. The death has taken place of Josie McHugh, Lochdoon, Portnew, County Donegal. His remains will repose at Chauvelin's Funeral Home, Sandfield, today from 2 o'clock until 5:30, followed by removal to St Connell's Church, Kilclooney, arriving at 6 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of William Hancock, late of Crehennan, Quigley's Point, County Donegal. Funeral leaving his late home, Crehennan, Quigley's Point, County Donegal, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, followed by burial in Redcastle Parish Churchyard. Family flowers only, donations in lieu of desire to the Donegal Hospice, care of Mrs Ruth Hay, Funeral Director. And the death has taken place of Pat Porrick McCann, 39 Rosemount, Kilmacrennan, and formerly Screen, County Sligo. Pat's remains will be reposing at his daughter Claire and Michael Shaughnessy's home at Ballyheron, Kilmacrennan, from 12 noon until 10 o'clock today. Rosary tonight at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 11:30, going to St Columba's Church, Kilmacrennan, for 12 noon Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards to the adjoining cemetery. House private to family on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Oncology Day Ward, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
It's not just that Sarah can't rely on the rains to come this year. It's not just that the only water left could cost her life. It's not just that she has seen all her crops destroyed and she is struggling to feed her little boy. Like thousands of parents living in regions devastated by drought, Sarah is living in fear, and it's not just. This Lent, your help can make all the difference. Visit trocra.org or call 1-800 408 408. Trocra. Together for a just world.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme, and it is a busy hour. We want you to hop on to and watch the show if you can. Obviously, lots of you at work where you can't, or you're driving or whatever it might be. But if it does suit you, go onto our Facebook or YouTube channels. And coming up very shortly, we're going to be announcing our the recipient of the beautiful car that we have put together with iMotors for one person, a community hero. And that was done over the weekend, and we've got the video of it and the audio. So if you're in the radio world, you'll get to hear it all. But also, if you want to hop on and watch, you can do so. And then a little later on, 25 to 11, we have live music, our first finalist in studio for our music competition, the local music hero competition it's called. We have 4 acts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the line's open, and you will help decide who will go on then to represent this part of the world in a national competition. And I think we have a really good chance. All 4 acts, I think, are superb. Today's, no doubt, is also absolutely superb. But that'll all be revealed, so stay right where you are. Right. Okay. We'll take the bingo numbers now because that clears the decks to some extent for us. Sean will be joining us. We'll be going through the events of the weekend. It's good. It's really nice. So I want you to listen and watch that if you can. Back in a moment.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 6th of March. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S6. It's game number 10. The numbers are 18, 59, 75, 4, 3, 8, 85, 50, 60, and finally 9. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The Lidl Baby event is back, and you won't want to miss these great offers, like our new organic baby snacks from only $1.89, as voted by you, Ireland's favourite award-winning Loopy Loo nappies from $1.39. Keep them safe as houses with our quick close baby gate, only $24.99. And there's so much more. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl today.
Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
How well do you know your mum? Find out with our fantastic Mother's Day celebrations at Foyleside Shopping Centre, Saturday 11th of March from 12 to 3 p.m. Enter our fun-filled quiz, How Well Do You Know Your Mum? Live with Jerry Lavs for your chance to win amazing prizes for your mum. See Foyleside Shopping Centre's Facebook page for details.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Okay, you're welcome back to studio, and in with me now is Sean Quinn, our head of sales. Hi, Sean.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you in. Good to have a lovely, nice little bit of positivity again, because we recently put a big call out to ask our listeners to nominate a community hero, and we had an amazing response. And as we've said before, but worthwhile saying again, in trying to choose a winner, we were overwhelmed because there were so many brilliant people, and their fellow members of the community saw fit to say, look, these people need recognition. So as I say, the whole process I thought was really heartwarming and enlightening.
Big time, Greg. It was to say it was difficult is an understatement, because there were so many nominations that hit us, and I know that we spent a number of hours actually looking, reading, and we took actually some of the entries away to digest, because it was so difficult to see. Everybody deserved it. Every single nomination that came into us deserved to be the winner. But we were tasked with picking one, and we eventually got there. And in fairness, we became unanimous the more you read into what this person had done for the community. And I now know, having met this person, it absolutely was the right decision.
Okay, I feel like we're warming up for Stars in Their Eyes, and then he's going to walk out and say, today I'm...
Well, that's a little bit like Saturday now, to be fair.
Okay, well, listen, we're going to get to that because we have a brilliant video and a bit of audio for all of you out there in Radioland, of course, but if you're watching on our social medias as well. Karen, you nominated Roddy Smith. Tell us why.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good.
I nominated Roddy. We approached Roddy last April to set up a community first responder group in Newton. Well, just as a possibility. And straight away, Roddy agreed. Now, I can't put into words the amount of work that Roddy has put into our group. Our first meeting of interest was in April, and the group was live in December. So, in order to get live, we had to have everybody Garda vetted. We had to have everybody trained to a high standard of CPR. And Roddy carried out all that training at least once a week to get everybody trained. He's the most humble man that you ever met. He is constantly praising us as responders and always giving us feedback. And as a group, we just felt like this would be a nice opportunity for us to show our appreciation and just to, tell him, how much we appreciate what he does for the group.
And what he's doing, it's a ripple effect, isn't it? It's like he is the stone thrown into the middle of the lake. And it's the ripples, isn't it? It's the people that are helped immediately, but then the people that use can go on and help and so on and so forth. It's hard to sort of fully quantify the extent of the positive impact he's having.
100%. Unfortunately, there are people that we will be directly, responding to in life-threatening situations. But Roddy wasn't just happy with that. He put a few of us forward then for instructor training because he wants as many people in the local community to be able to provide good CPR. While they may not want to be responders, he wants to be confident that a lot of people in the village and the surrounding areas can perform that CPR until somebody who is more trained can get to help. And we're offering that training free. Again, he's providing a lot of the training to the instructors. And to date, we have about interest in groups that want to avail of this training, and we've about 30 people through the training so far.
All right, brilliant stuff. Thanks so much, Karen, for heeding the call, answering the call, and I'm delighted. We're delighted. You're delighted that Roddy is the winner.
Oh, we're just over the moon. We were nervous. I'll not lie. We were nervous of what his reaction would be because he's one of these guys that flies under the radar, and he is so humble, but he really does deserve it. I just want to say, as I mentioned to his wife Tracy, because the fact that Roddy's out so much, he's given up a lot of his time, but she sacrificed a lot of her family time as well for the group. So just want to mention that as well.
All right, listen, fair play, Karen. It's a lovely story. Thanks so much indeed. So, Sean, we're going to talk about what happened at the weekend now. We're going to have a chat with Roddy in a bit as well. Seamus from iMotors has joined us as well. Talk to us about how, without any spoilers, okay? Because we had to defer this a little bit, didn't we? Because Roddy's so busy.
Yeah, he's in the middle of a course down the country. So we'd made the call. We'd made the decision first and foremost, and we made the call then. But he wasn't available, so we had to delay it. But we also we wanted to have that little element of surprise. Well, it was a surprise. It was as much a surprise for me as it was for him because he had no idea on Saturday morning when we rolled up to the house. And I knocked the door and he landed and I said, good morning.
Right, well, shall we listen to it?
Yeah.
All right, we'll listen to it.
You won't get this first piece.
Okay, go ahead.
But it's just, he had absolutely no idea. And I had to explain why I was standing on his doorstep on a Saturday morning. But it gets better from there. So, yeah.
So I nominated Roddy on behalf of the whole first responder group. When Roddy was approached to set up this group in April, I think it took about 2 days to think about it before he had organised a meeting to gauge a level of interest in the community to see if we could gather up a team of volunteers. So that first meeting, as I say, was held in April, and we got 16 volunteers came forward, and that's how the group was formed. By December, we were live as a group. So just through that time, Roddy has done training with us weekly, at the very least bi-weekly. He's given up a huge amount of time between going and collecting equipment for us to train, to actually, completing the training with us, to setting up scenarios. So we just wanted to nominate him to say we really appreciate all the work and the time and the effort that he has put into the group, and that we couldn't do it without him.
I'm joined by Roddy Smith. Roddy, congratulations on being shortlisted for this year's Highland Radio Community Hero Award. How does it feel to be shortlisted?
Very taken aback. Did not expect this at all.
We kind of surprised you this morning now, in fairness.
Very much so.
Yeah. But that's always the best way. So tell us more about your involvement with the Newton Cunningham First Response Group.
So back last April, the community focus group approached me and asked me to come down and just give them a wee talk on how to set up a group in Newton Cunningham if it was feasible. With my background from the working in the ambulance service in Letterkenny, I thought I'll go down and we'll chat it out. For the past maybe 6 years, I've been sole or off-duty responder within the community. Whereas, and it's through the ambulance service, they would contact me when I'm off duty, and I would respond to my neighbours and within a 10-kilometre radius of my house here. There was 16 people put their names forward for actually responding, and you have to get across to them about the magnitude of the thing they're taking on. You're going into a house, your neighbour's house, you know them, and dealing with them at the worst possible time of their lives possible.
Yeah. So what was the next part of that process? So you had the 16 people in the room, and then obviously there's a training element that you have to get to a certain level before you can go and even go to a call.
It took a lot of kind of preparation. I put my heart and soul into the community first responder group. So it took a wee bit of organisation to get the training started, and the response I got from the volunteers was amazing. The commitment they gave me and give their community, but in that time as well, I was looking at right. So I now have volunteers, but what else do we need? We need defibs, we need equipment, we need high-vis vests, we need to be so with the committee, we started fundraising, and the response from the community was amazing.
Am I right in saying now we're nearly a year on from that first meeting?
Yeah, we're coming on.
Am I right in saying you've got about 16 defibs now?
We have about
wow.
That. Yeah, we have them dotted. We have, the new heated boxes on buildings within the community. We're looking after Cardigans. We put a new box over there for their defib, and we're looking after that. In Calais as well, we're looking after theirs.
So it's unquestionable that the journey that you guys have been on in the last almost 12 months has just been amazing. What is the future? What do you see? Can you evolve this? What's your...
Yeah, that's what I was trying. I'm like Billy Connolly, I'll go off on a different story and try and come back.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
So the community engagement officer came to me and he goes, Roddy, we're getting great feedback. Your group's responding to so many calls, and he goes that they're well looked after and well supervised, and he says, Roddy, you maybe take them up to CFRA level,
And could this potentially, would this be something that you could see yourself going to other communities and helping and supporting in what you've done here?
I have been asked to go and speak to other communities within the area.
But would it be fair to say that you're a doer, and when you do things, it happens?
Yeah.
And what would it mean if I asked you a question now, if you were to win the car? What would it mean to you?
It would be amazing. Yeah, it would be amazing. It would. it would probably be used to respond to calls.
Right.
Possibly.
It would help in the community as well.
It would definitely help in the community, because even if...
I want to turn around here and just say congratulations, because we're here not to shortlist you today. You're actually the winner of Highland Radio's Community Hero. and I couldn't think of a better person to win it. Thanks to iMotors, this year you'll be supplied with a beautiful Qashqai. You'll see behind us is all your responders who nominated you, and it's a privilege to have spent the last 10 minutes with you.
Roddy.
And this is Seamus from iMotors to hand you the keys.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Well done. Can we give him a hug?
You can.
Are we like, well done?
Thank you.
There you have it. So I was lost in that there for a second and nearly never pulled out of it. Something else. What a winner. Seamus, I'll bring you in now. You've been sitting there patiently. Stroke didn't come till late.
Yeah.
What nice. What a thing to be a part of that. I don't think even when you guys were putting this together, if the truth be told, that you thought it would play out like this, and then you've seen those scenes yesterday. I mean, it truly is a special thing to be involved in, I think.
Yeah, there's a sort of under the radar guy we're looking for, and he is, I'm living in Newton for nearly 20 years. I don't know the guy, and he's living in the same town as me, but truly deserves it. Like, the amount of work he does there, unbelievable. And we've been trying to get him organised to do the video at the weekend, or he can't collect the car for 2 weeks because he's that busy, so
did you tell him he's allowed to do 50 miles a week yet?
No, we didn't. We'll have to write up.
I hope he stuffs it. Yeah, I really do.
He's in Galway all week, and I'm thinking he's in Galway this week, but he's a real hard worker. He's really
and by the sounds of things, he's already got plans and progress. Things are progressing, but it sounds like this is actually even going to be something kick everything even a bit further, Sean.
Oh, it is, yeah. And it's like, I asked him the question about what's the future plans. He has a plan, and he wants to help other communities to, I suppose, to emulate what he's started in his own hometown.
Let's say hello, Roddy. How are you?
I'm great, Greg. Thanks very much.
Thanks for that, and thanks for being a good sport there. We were all sitting watching the video as it played out here, and you seem such a lovely fella. Couldn't have gone to a nicer person by the looks of things, and we're so delighted that it means something to you, that it means as much to you as it does to us.
It really does. When I say I was taken aback by it, Saturday morning, I had absolutely no idea. I had so much on it Saturday.
Sorry.
For the
I annoyed him.
No, you didn't annoy me at all. But because I had that, and Sean was at the door, and I honestly looked at him and I thought, what is going on here? I can't get over the faith that the group have put in me. I can't achieve what I want to achieve without the group with me. I do have a plan. I've had a plan for years and years, and never thought it would be achievable. And it's always to get the first two links in the chain of survival going. And good CPR to start with. Just from my background, being in the ambulance service, and when we respond to calls, we know how, if there's no CPR ongoing prior to our arrival, that the outcome's not going to be great. So I always thought, if everyone knew how to do CPR, or had the confidence to do good CPR, and then get defibs there quicker, how can we achieve that? So I looked at, once the focus group approached me, this plan, this light started to go off, and then the responders, the volunteers that arrived that night at the meeting. I didn't want to scare them off, but I also wanted them to realise the magnitude of the situation, or the situations that they would be put into. It's ordinary people doing extraordinary things. in the ambulance service, that's what we always do. We're just ordinary people. We're highly trained, but we do extraordinary. We're put in extraordinary situations. So the amazing 16 volunteers that I have, including my own son and daughter, they put the work in. They committed themselves to the cause, really, and this idea of I was trying to sell them this idea, which wasn't difficult to sell them. They all took on everything that all the training to achieve this. So my idea was that we get defibs to the houses quicker. Ideally,
there's a chain event there, isn't there? It's the CPR initially, because that does the work of the heart. Then you want the defib, and then you want you to arrive and your colleagues to arrive in the ambulance. That's the chain, really. We want to.
Exactly. So to get this whole chain into situation, I had to train the volunteers, obviously get the defibs into the community and get them easy accessible, and get as many defibs as we can. And our responders carry defibs as well. And the public access ones that we have available. So then I had the opportunity to get four of the volunteers up for instructor, and then this is the ball really, this is a snowball really going. We were lucky enough, the four of them got up and trained as instructors, and we got them through the course, and then we started teaching the local community the Heart Saver course, and we've 30 through it already. Newton's a big enough wee village, to get them all through will take time. But if at least one person in every household within Newton Cunningham has good CPR, that's the first line.
And Leah's your daughter, is she?
She is, yeah.
An ongoing commentary on Facebook here to your comments. First one, no better man for it, Heart. My dad's simply the best. Then she updated us, Roddy. Classic dad, never takes the credit for himself. Good woman, Leah. Thanks very much for that. That's the wonders of modern technology. I've you on one phone line and I've Leah on Facebook watching you here. Come here, listen. We'll get you in another time, actually, for a separate item on the show, because it's only last week we had Harry Walsh in, and it was Deep Fib Day last week, and talking to people who would not be alive and well if it wasn't for the quick reactions, and people can't do that unless there's people like you in the community training them and all that. So listen, Roddy, we know you're really busy. We appreciate you being a good sport and taking the time out to talk to us, and happy motoring.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the car will be used. Go Seamus, I'll see it flying past him and Newton now and again. Hopefully he doesn't cringe too much when I'm driving that about.
No, that's it. We don't want you in anything other than that car. You just keep her lit. Right.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the mileage either. I want you to stuff him with at least 50.
Keep it local.
All right, Roddy, take care of yourself. God bless. Well done.
Take care.
All right,
see you, Roddy. Good man, Roddy.
Bye. You're just that type of a character, it's like wrestling. You'd be a heel. I think they'd call you a heel, the bad guy. And I'm only messing though, because right from the get-go, the concept of this, and we talked to you, Seamus, about it before, about your company being a community company, and just seeing this as a way of strengthening those ties, recognising that. I don't know, what was the vision there?
Yeah. It was Michael's idea, the community hero thing, and it's gone. It's way bigger. It's grown bigger than we thought, and so couldn't have went to a better, hard-working person. So,
yeah. Okay.
I just want to reiterate. It's Michael spoke to me last year about it. And it's great to have iMotors on board. It's an incredible prize to be given to somebody within the community, and it has gone from strength to strength. There's no two ways about it. The reaction we saw on Saturday was priceless. Deserving. But also from his first responders, their reaction as well was brilliant. They were just so delighted that his daughter says he never takes the credit or claim for anything, and that's the type of person we were looking for. We found them, but we couldn't have done it without iMotors, because the prize the prize is the prize. It's the and to have a Qashqai, a brand new Nissan Qashqai for a year.
If we can get him time now to get organised, to get the car and get it updated,
no bother. And fair play for you, Sean, to go out and do that. Very impressive interviewing skills, and I mean that seriously.
Watch out, Greg.
Was it Anya as well who did the camera work?
Yeah, just to say thank you to Anya and also
and Kareen and Kareen as well.
Kareen as well, yeah.
And we'll get that up on our socials later for anyone who missed it as well, because it's a lovely thing, and his reaction. It really punches you in the feels. It's real. All right. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, it went very, very well. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well done, Seamus. Thanks for coming down again. And who's to say what might happen in the future along these lines?
Watch this space.
Watch this space is the way we always like to approach things. And finally, thanks to Roddy. Thanks to Karen and all the crew who thought so much for him to nominate him. And thanks to everybody who nominated somebody. There's some amazing people that were nominated. Some that people might know, some that they won't. Some that may not have accepted it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But a lot of the people you'd expect to be nominated were nominated, and there was unsung heroes, and it was just an amazing bunch and group of people, and we're so lucky here in the Northwest. We really, really are.
We'd love to be able to read them all out and shout all the names out, but obviously we can't. But it was just incredible.
Superb, wasn't
it?
All right, listen, thanks very much.
Greg.
Really appreciate it. Take care. That's Sean Quinn, Head of Sales at Highland Radio, and Seamus McLaughlin, owner of iMotors. Back with more shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate holiday loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Don't know if you know Alice and Pat. Late 40s, couple of kids, been together 17 years. Never married, of course, but that's not a problem. Until something happens, and suddenly words like unmarried, inheritance, and substantial tax bill enter the equation. You never need proper estate planning. Until you do. That's why the experienced team at McElhenney & Associates are here to help. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney & Associates Solicitors, Stranraer.
Are you building, rebuilding, or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest, Donegal New Build and Rebuilds 2023. It will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Admission is free to this 3-day event from March 10th to March 12th. This ad is kindly sponsored by Florit. Letterkenny Show Society annual Pedigree Bull Sale will be held in Reformart on Tuesday, 7th of March at 6:30 p.m. with 50 Pedigree Bulls on offer, consisting of 32 Charolais, 8 Limousines, 5 Hereford and 5 Angus. All stock are eligible for export to Northern Ireland. Online bidding available on martbids.ie. That's this Tuesday at Reformart.
Mary here from the Cosmetics Department at McGee's Chemist to let you know that Lancome have a great beauty gift available here this week. Buy 2 Lancome products, one of them to be skincare, and you will get a free 8-piece gift containing a full-size rose sugar scrub, absolute day and night travel size creams, and more iconic Lancome products. This is available until Saturday the 18th of March or while stocks last. For any skincare advice, you can always talk to Gemma or myself here at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Get ready for the all-new Pulse venue with state-of-the-art sound and light and all-new decor. Reopening Saturday, 18th of March with the Whistling Donkeys. Tickets on sale now. See Pulse Letterkenny on Facebook for updates.
TFI Local Link operate over 1,300 door-to-door bus services nationwide. If you live on or near one of the routes, just pre-book the day before you travel. Simple. Then off you pop from your front door, off to the shops, off to training, or even off to the chipper. And fares now cost 20% less. Find the door-to-door bus routes in your area on transportforireland.ie. If you're on our route, we're on our way. TFI Local Link is part of the Transport for Ireland network.
Forward Emphasis International, based in Mallinhead and Belfast, are actively recruiting for customer service advisors and experienced motor claims handlers with both in-office and hybrid opportunities available. Fully funded insurance and financial service qualifications delivering attractive career path opportunities are available. Please visit their website, forwardemphasis.ie, and apply via their careers page.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Pyrex is all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price Pyrex is gone, it's gone. Also, all toilet seats and all mirrors and clocks are all still half price. But when all the half price toilet seats and all the half price mirrors and clocks are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. From March 26th, Aer Lingus will operate a daily service to London Heathrow, providing onward connections to 80 plus destinations worldwide. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, let's have a look at the weather forecast now, and I can tell you that today will be as follows. Hazy sunny spells and well scattered showers to start today with outbreaks of rain moving in from the north, turning colder and clearer behind the rain with highs of 4 or 5 degrees, light to moderate northwesterlies. Those are the winds, of course, turning very cold in the evening with icy stretches, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what it's going to be like tomorrow. We're going to tell you a little bit more what it's going to be like tomorrow a little later on in the programme. Okay, so we know we are in the middle of Irish Music Month, and as part of that, it's a collaboration of a number of independent radio stations, all of them effectively, really. We are promoting and pushing Irish music. We play lots of Irish music here, and we're looking for everyone all around the country to do more to support Irish artists. And we are running a competition to select 4 artists, which we have now. They are Charles James and the Rise, Oisin Nee, Boy M5 and the Midnight Preachers. They are going to perform from us all this week. And then we're going to select a winner between Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday between you and judges. And then they're going to go on to compete in a national competition with other artists selected by other radio stations. So let us say good morning now to, fingers crossed, Charles James and the Rise. James, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
It's great to have you with us. How are you keeping?
Good, great.
It's great to have you in and get a wee bit of feedback there, but sure, look, we'll work through that. Charles James and the Rise, talk to us about this band and its membership.
So today you have myself on guitar, Catherine, my wife, on piano and vocals, and we're joined by Laura McFadden on cello. Laura did the session work for us and has agreed to come and join us today to perform the songs as we created them.
All right, and talk to me about this track. Well, we're going to get 2 tracks from you, but talk to me about the track Elephants, because it sticks in your head. It's a real earworm, isn't it? It's beautiful. Talk to us about the making of that track.
Yeah, that wrote that back in October. So it had come about after like a long period of kind of, after the loss of my father in 2020. It's kind of a sudden loss, and then the grieving process after that, and I was kind of trying to put that into express it through the song. I'd written a few different songs and they just never hit properly, and then when I was starting to play this one, I realised I was kind of expressing everything I wanted, as well as kind of saying there's light at the end of the tunnel for anyone going through something like that.
Beautiful. So it was part of a process for you as well too?
It was, yeah. Absolutely. And it was just, it was over 2 years later before I was able to kind of fully come to terms with it.
And Elephants is being released this month, isn't it?
It is, 24th of March. It'll be everywhere that you can consume your music, iTunes, Spotify, and then we'll be following that up with a wee video shortly afterwards.
And your outside of the music world career is fascinating. It's fascinating in itself. I think the last time I spoke to you, we talked about maybe we could do a full hour just on what you do and all that kind of stuff. But
that's right.
The way it is, the way work works for you is you do get a bit of space at home, don't you? Because you work away, but you get a bit of space at home just to, you know, work on the creative side of things, spend time with your beautiful family, of course, and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's great. The way I'm working now since middle of last year, I work away for a month down in Angola, down in West Africa, and then I come home for a month, and then when I'm off, I'm fully off, and have time to focus on the music and
Brilliant.
time to relax.
Okay, well, the song that we've chosen is Elephants, but we're going to hear another track first, aren't we?
Yeah, you're going to hear the second one. So Elephants is going to be the first single, and then Drinking the Ghosts Away is going to be the second.
Right, so we go Drinking the Ghosts Away first?
Yep.
No, this is... That's partly your fault. You're the one saying second.
Bit earlier in the day for that, Greg.
All right, come here. Drinking the Ghosts Away, whenever you're ready, guys.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Set my sins alive, burnt them in the fire, burning bright as the embers rising. This is my last disguise, and I can seem to obscure your view, cover your eyes in blue. These black wings aren't for you, no, because you'd see through the best disguise. See through the best disguise. Lately I haven't been dreaming, I've been drinking the ghosts away. Lately I haven't been dreaming, no, but you can't keep the ghosts away. No, you can't keep the ghosts away. I could confess all the things I've done, each reckless impulsive one. Change what's been and gone, because I'm gonna be right for my wrongs. Oh, I undo my rights and my wrongs. And lately I haven't been dreaming, I've been drinking the ghosts away. Lately I haven't been dreaming, no, but you can't keep the ghosts away.
Lovely stuff. It's a beautiful sound, James, that you have there.
Thanks very much, Greg. Thanks,
it really is. And I don't know enough about music to attribute a style to it, but it's just, it's just so calming and melodic and,
Yeah, it's like kind of, I suppose, atmospheric-y folk type of sound is kind of what we've been... It's just the way the sound's developed, really.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of a targeted approach or anything. It's just...
You've been at this. You've been at this a long time, of course. Do you feel it's evolved during your career in terms of how you make music, how you release it, how you promote it? Do you see it a little bit different now?
I think it's all a learning process. Because obviously my career's the way it's it's not something. I think if you go to uni and study it and all the rest, you get very good at the market and the promotion and understanding the industry. Whereas for me, it's always been independent. It's kind of learn and make mistakes and then learn from that the next time you go for a release.
Yeah.
In terms of the promotion as well, I suppose it's all just kind of, we're just discussing that, like you're either good at self-promotion or you're not. And I'm not particularly good at self-promotion.
But you've got a great self-awareness. It sounds like maybe the next track, how James is not, introspective work.
Yeah, exactly. Bit of work to do myself.
No, you don't. Listen, you're doing fantastic. And as I say, anyone who knows anything about music across the county would know your work and what you've been doing. And as I say, this is just about hopefully giving one of our amazing artists here who have their own followings and their own catalogues just an extra bit of publicity on a national scale, really, isn't it? I mean, you've done it. You're this is not new to you, like, you know.
No, but it's a great opportunity.
Exactly, yeah.
So it really is.
Right, okay. So we're going to hear Elephants now. People who have heard the trail and what have you, and as I say, it's a song, and it just goes to show what radio play does, because the more you keep listening to it, and it's just a cracking tune. All right, so this is Charles James and the Rise, and this is the track we'll be opening the voting lines for you on Thursday to vote on, and this is their track, Elephants.
Forgot to take them off the last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been living like I wanna die, broken hearted battle crime, disregard the alibi, afraid to go to sleep in case I dream. Never thought I'd get so low, let me off the merry-go, round and drown me ever slow, gasp for breath as another day begins. Black dogs barking louder now, the elephants got my chest pinned down, paralyzed by nothing at all. I rise, convinced that I'm bound to fall in this life, these dreams, so much harder than it seems. We've all got our cross to bear, some hidden hurt and deep despair, treading water, gasp for air. It's life's sweet imperfections give you hope. Black dogs barking louder now, the elephants got my chest pinned down, paralyzed by nothing at all. I rise, convinced that I'm bound to fall in this life, these dreams, it's so much harder than it seems. Dogs barking louder now, the elephants got my chest pinned down, paralyzed by nothing at all. I rise, convinced that I'm bound to fall in this life, these dreams, it's so much harder than it seems. Black dogs barking louder now, the elephants got my chest pinned down, paralyzed by nothing at all. I rise, convinced that I'm bound to fall in this life, these dreams, it's so much harder than it seems.
All right, it's hard to believe that was actually live. It sounded so good. That's James, Charles and The Rise. That's finalist number 1 in our Irish Music Month music competition. That is the song we'll be asking you to vote on, and we'll have the audio and the video up later in the week. Charles, James and The Rise, Elephants. James, wishes absolutely nothing but success. This is a great opportunity to get to chat to you, to get you back in studio in your current format. Cello sounds absolutely amazing as well. Yeah. And regardless of whatever happens, and I think I've said this to you before, I don't know why, we're not trying to harass you to come on because you're in a tour of Germany or Australia or America or something. So continued success. Best of luck with the release of the music, and best of luck in the competition.
Thanks a million, Greg, and thanks for everyone for having us.
No, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much. That's James, who is James O'Donnell, of course, and Catherine O'Donnell. Laura there on the cello. James is on the guitar there. Catherine playing the piano and backing vocals, as I mentioned, didn't I? Laura on the cello. And they're from Greencastle. They're a duo, play rambling, atmospheric folk. I hope you enjoyed that. The first track was Drinking the Ghosts Away, which is a little bit of an exclusive. That's soon to be released music. But the competition entrance is Elephants. And that was from Charles James on the Rise. And the Rise, sorry. And I would not like to be trying to pick a winner. We're going to give you details on Thursday as to how you can help pick the winner tomorrow. Oisin Nee is live in studio with us. On Wednesday, we've got the big sound of Boy M5. Looking forward to hearing their track live. That's going to be really interesting. And another amazing act. Already, these are superb acts, by the way. This is just a case of trying to push them on a bit as well, onto a sort of national, strong international stage. The Midnight Preachers, they're the final performers on Thursday. But as you can see, and as Bill Mullen and Kathleen McCarran and Patrick Kavanagh are already recognising on social media, we have a contender. And we're back with Oisin Nee tomorrow at 10:30, so don't miss it. Here on your number one local radio station. This is Highland Radio. It's the 9 till noon show.
For all your training needs, Northwest Forestry Services Training Department Ballybuffet offer a wide range of courses from training bodies such as NPTC City and Guilds, QQI, LADRA and ABA International. Courses include all land-based services such as chainsaw, tree climbing and rescue, pesticides, working in heights and ATV training. Other courses offered include first aid responder, manual handling and building safety, to name but a few. For a full list of training courses and availability, contact Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet on 074 9132033.
The government is planning to make changes to the Temporary Business Energy Support Scheme to help more businesses with rising energy costs. Until these changes take effect in the coming weeks, claims can continue to be made under the current scheme. If your business has been impacted by significant gas or electricity price increases and you haven't already registered with revenue.ie, now is the time to do so. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Guess what? What? Larkins of New Mills are offering a 4-course dinner for Mother's Day, which includes starter, main course, dessert with tea or coffee, all for an incredible €23. To book, call today on 074 91 266 97. Early booking is advisable. Let our family look after yours this Mother's Day at Larkins of New Mills.
At Screwfix, we've got low prices to make you go wow. So you can stock up on everything you need to get the job done. That's low prices on trade essentials, low prices on plumbing and electrical, and low prices on decorating and workwear. Don't miss out. Shop these wow prices at screwfix.ie or in over 30 stores. Screwfix, the choice of champions.
Choose life. Choose fun. Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better. Something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 3rd. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 3rd to 19th March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Okay, right, just before we head towards news at 11 o'clock, we've got time for a few of your comments here. Can someone point me in the right direction, please? Asked this listener, and maybe you can help. My daughter recently returned from an underage disco in tears at what she witnessed. Young boys and girls performing sex acts on each other in full view of everyone in the club. She told me it has now become such a normal that no one is even looking at them anymore. I made several phone calls on the issue. Gardaí say they cannot enter the club unless a report is made. Security told me they have been directed to look away as young people are sexually more active now and it's their freedom to do so. Needless to say, we called management, calls were not returned. Is there anybody out there that will take responsibility to stop this happening? Is this an area TUSLA could do something about? Now, this is not going to be popular as to what I'm going to say here. The first protocol's mums and dads here, really. Do you know what I mean? Like rushing to a state agency to sort of go, can you resolve this? I mean, obviously, is that not the sort of the first port of call? I don't know. What do you think out there? What advice have you got for this person? 086 60 25,000. Yes, I mean, if stuff's going on, there has to be a role for the state or the agencies of the state or whatever it might be. But first and foremost, like I speak to a lot of parents, and their children go to these, as mine have in the past as well. By the way, I'm not insulated from this. They would prefer if they weren't on, because then they wouldn't have to sort of say no or argue with their young people or that type of stuff. I think it's just us as parents and guardians have a wee role and a conversation to have in relation to this as well. What do you think? As I say, I'm just throwing scenarios and stuff out there. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or call 07491 25,000. But do you have advice in the first instance, I suppose, for this person? As I say, I'm not trying to be controversial. But as I say, you know, maybe we as parents need to sort of combine together and say, what can we do, or what do we need to do, if you get where I'm coming from. As I say, WhatsApps and text to 086 60 25,000.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, I can't believe we're heading into the last hour of the show already, but we are. And to take us there at 11 o'clock, it's over to Michaela Clark with the latest news headlines.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Donegal County Council has renewed its appeal for properties to house Ukrainian people. To date, 152 homes in the county have been made available. The call is part of a government initiative to make use of unoccupied houses, apartments or holiday homes to house those fleeing the war in Ukraine. A tax-free recognition payment of €800 per month is available. A Donegal deputy says the government can and must intervene to cut energy costs. Sinn Féin will bring forward a motion to the Dáil tomorrow to urge the government to provide support as people struggle with sky-high bills. Deputy Pearse Doherty says a sensible measure has been adopted in Europe, which the Irish government has failed to replicate. Over 180 businesses, organisations and institutions in the North West have signed an open letter in support of the proposed upgrades to the A5. Jointly organised by the London Derry and Letterkenny Chambers of Commerce, the open letter is signed by businesses across Derry, Donegal, Strabane, Omagh and the wider North West region. It's been submitted to the North's Department for Infrastructure as part of its consultation and call for views on the A5 supplementary environmental information, which closed on Friday. Landlords are being driven out of the market due to the evictions ban, according to an estate agents network. This evening, government leaders will meet to discuss whether to extend or scrap the ban, which is due to expire at the end of the month. But it's thought it may be extended with some exceptions, including student accommodation and private landlords who want to use their properties to house their relatives or themselves. A new curriculum for primary schools is due to be published this week. It's thought the new framework will move a focus away from traditional subjects. It's expected foreign languages will be introduced with more time given to art, drama and music. And the last chance for people to have their say on the town centre first plan for Milford is this week. The plan will be regeneration and renewal focus with a view to strengthening the role, image, vibrancy, vitality and resilience of Milford Town Centre. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Okay, Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
There's a grand stretch in the evening, Tom says to everyone he meets this time of year, including the fire service, who this evening responded to an electrical fire at Tom's house, caused by the charger he forgot to unplug after having a grand stretch in his online yoga class this afternoon. Not so grand. Thankfully, Tom has a phone watch alarm, which responds to break-ins and smoke in just 15 seconds for only €49. Life is unpredictable. Don't be alarmed, be phone watched. Offer ends March 19th. Visit phonewatch.ie. Monitoring fees apply.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio after the news headlines. And it's all go, go, go. It's been a busy Monday morning. Hopefully it sounds busy and organised rather than me stressing out and absolute chaos, which is happening when the microphones are down. Isn't that right, Caroline? I'm chaotic, am I? It's my fault. It's Monday morning. Speaking of Monday morning, a timely reminder that it's Monday morning is Brendan Devaney, who's just gone to, I don't know, is he washing the dishes there? He's closing the curtains. I don't know, watching him on Zoom here. I'm trying to do an interview and the blinds are coming down. Okay, I'll wait on you, Brendan. Brendan Devaney, I have you muted as well. That's my fault. Okay, Brendan Devaney joins us now. The DL debate is on this evening. Can you hear me, Brendan? Sorry, I had myself muted. I was talking about you closing your blinds and all that kind of stuff, and I'm the idiot here.
Sorry, Greg. Yeah. You are. Yes, that's correct.
Lovely. Come here. What's coming up in the programme? You've got the GEA reporter with the Donegal News, Ryan Ferry, Armagh legend Aaron Kernan also on the show. So we'll focus on Saturday night. I know we're in a period of transition and all that type of stuff, but it's tough. It's tough to watch at times. There was a spell, I think, in the second half where it was right, okay, we can kick on from here, but then you get the impression that our opponents now feel that if they can weather a short storm, we kind of just give in with a quarter to go. I'm not saying the players are giving in, by the way. I'm not in a position to be harshly critical, but it's maintaining a momentum that goes, and then it's like we're gone.
Yeah, listen, Armagh are a good defensive side. They shut out the best forward line in Ireland last week in their home patch. So it was always going to be a very difficult assignment up there. You know, a raucous athletic grounds. You know, they've really galvanised the county. Massive support. And for our forwards, I suppose, Greg, looking at our league table, you know, myself and yourself have spoke a few times about defensively. You know, our defence is coping okay. Outside of that, I suppose, particularly the Monaghan game, poor Tyrone game, we've had poor halves in that. And as you said, in transition, you're never going to play a brilliant game all over, because players are just bedding in, getting to know each other, new management, new players, and you come up against an Armagh team that's very much on the up. And as I say, defensively, they're very hard to break down. And so many of we have forward talent, but they couldn't break the defence. And then, as we've seen so many times, Greg, on comes Hugh McFadden. How do you get round blanket defence? You either have to give go, break the lines, which physically we don't really have in our armoury at the minute, or you have to give the ball in direct. And when we started to do that, then we kept fighting. And you'd say, I suppose glimmer of hope from it, Greg, is we didn't give up. We kept trying, and you might have an option inside. We've got to have a platform inside to get around tough defences, because we haven't got, our players are nippy. They're skillfully very good, but they're not able to break a game line like Armagh's. But that's it, Greg, as I say, that Armagh defence is really solid. It's probably one of the toughest.
And again, armchair stuff here. Are we shooting more than we did under Boner? I mean, obviously, if you can't penetrate that defence, you're going to take some shots. Are we taking more shots now than we did under Boner, do you think? Obviously, there's going to be more wides, but I mean, rather than sort of holding on to the ball and trying to work an opportunity inside.
Listen, I think you got to have a go. Greg, probably our shooting was a bit off, and it was as well last week, which is a bit of a worry, because certainly we have some serious talent inside that maybe that shouldn't be happening. But I suppose you're shooting under pressure and you're shooting from awkward areas and that. And I think, again, on top of everything else, Greg, when you're on about wides and shot selection and all that, that comes from an experienced group who know how to win. And you always get the sense on Saturday evening that no matter what, Armagh, we're going to know how to win that match. And, you know, even though we got close to them, which was admirable, they had a couple of chances, a goal chance that they should have fisted over the bar and went 4 up. They missed it. And we stayed in the game then because of that. But you could just see a team that's further down the road from that. So, listen, it's difficult times.
I enjoy the league, though. Do you? I mean, the crowds are. Yeah. The crowds seem fantastic. You're seeing teams on a par against each other, battling out. You know, doesn't feel like there's dead rubbers there, or it doesn't feel like you have to go through a whole series of games just to get the inevitable, provincial winner of the championship. I mean, it's with a bit of refinement, and maybe more emphasis in its standing. Like, it's a great competition.
Greg, there's a massive interest in GA. We've talked a few times about tactics, about games being poor, and it doesn't seem to affect the general GA population, how maybe bad at times games are. I think they've got used to it, they've parked it, they love their teams, and no matter what, Greg, even with blanket defence, games, they'd be interesting at the end. I haven't said to people, you can nearly come on after half time because all the action is going to happen in the second half because it can be real shadow boxing. But that seems to be enough for people. They don't mind the way the game has gone. They've accepted it now, and there still is excitement in there. And so many teams just want to do well, as you see with the Bulls there at Armagh. I mean, there's pretty awful stuff there at times in that first half, but people seem to be happy with it, and certainly they know that the end game is to win the match. And as I say, things tend to open up in the second half that bit more. And the league's a fantastic competition, and I think the new group stages in the championships trying to capture a bit of that, Greg. Now, whether they do or not will be interesting, because the league is the league, and people go on there and there's players injured and you try players, and there's different things happening. It tends to be a wee bit more open, whereas we're used to championship and championship. So when this group stage starts, it remains to see at what level it's at, because it won't be do or die championship, the games. So whether that really takes off or not, I'm still not that sure about. But the league is just a special competition on its own, and many people prefer it to the championship.
But you see, that's kind of what I was saying, but I didn't want to nail my colours to the cross that strongly. Derry and Tyrone, two performances at the weekend as well.
Yeah, all our neighbours doing well. Great to see, isn't it? Yeah, listen. There's something about this Tyrone team, Greg. Nobody can figure out, but I'll tell you what you can figure out. See, when they're really up against it, and when they play Kerry, I don't know, they just
something
can pull out. It's in them, you see, and I suppose that's what's frustrating so many Tyrone fans, that this team is one of the best in Ireland, yet they can play like a team outside of the top 10. But they definitely didn't do that at the weekend, and they were under pressure. And it's funny that the soundbite come out. I mean, Fergal Logan, who's a friend of mine, saying, "Listen, everybody else was panicking, we weren't." But I would say there was a small bit of panic in there. And again, the Derry game, strange match for me. You know, in a game, looking at the whole game, Greg, people just look at the end of it in the second half. That's what I'm saying. They don't look at the way Derry looks so ordinary first half and looked terrible. And Dublin were doing the way Dublin would have did to a blanket defence team years ago and just kind of picked them off. But you see the growth in Derry and some of the new talent coming through, and I suppose their ability to say, you know, we're going to stay in this game. They needed a goal. They got the goal. Once they get that goal, I thought that's the launch pad. But I mean, even after that, the Dubs come back in. They had a couple of points, went ahead again. But there's just something about this Derry side. They will be hard to beat. But whether that tactic, Greg, as we know, works at the same level at Croke Park, this is the period with that type of setup. What happens at Croke Park now? Whether Rory Gallagher's planning for that anyway, I'm sure he is, because he looks like a man that has many plans going on.
It wouldn't be an easy job staying in Division 2 for any teams that might be in Division 2 next year. That would be a big challenge.
The danger there, Greg, as we say, the bottom two won't be in the All Ireland. That's a cert as it stands, because Westmeath won the Tailteann Cup, which means they're in the All-Ireland proper from Division 3. And then the way the Connacht Championship is set up, I think it's Sligo or Leitrim are going to be in the final, which means they're automatically. So two places has gone from Division 1 and 2. So the bottom two sides now are going to be out of the All-Ireland, and that's going to be tough. And I think it's Limerick anyways bottom, and I think maybe you could have somebody like Meath or Kildare out of the All-Ireland series, Greg. So for us at Donegal, it's going to be tough to survive now. I mean, everybody would say we're going down now. If there's some Houdini effect at home there to Mayo, maybe get the ball rolling on the way to Roscommon. It's still possible, Greg, so we live in hope.
Yeah, maybe you could tog out again for us. Come here. Are you in the business of chatting about refs? A few people want to know your views on the ref at the weekend and the Donegal game. A few soft frees and a couple of decisions here or there. Enough to change the course of the game. At the end of the day, whatever the ref does, you know, there's 15 players out there that can do what they want to do as well.
Yeah,
it's like in boxing, you know, knock them out, and then you don't have to worry about the judges.
It was brought up in the Sunday game last night, Greg. I was saying to myself, this is our main GA coverage, show of the week, and are we really talking like this? I mean, the good saying, yeah, you could have a free down in Cork and it's different in Tyrone or something. It's like, what's the point in this? And then we look like on about defining the tackle. I mean, Greg, this stuff is ridiculous. Listen, we know what the tackle is. We know what a tackle is. There's borderline around physically how you approach a player and how you tackle the ball. And that's just up then to the judgment of the ref. Now, if a ref does give a free in one part of the country and doesn't in another, that's down to the ref because he makes a split decision at the time. People just have to get on with this and stop
It's kind of a boring old debate, isn't it, of like 20 years ago?
Listen, Greg, it's human nature for people to not only kind of view things different, but also you remember the ref was making a point blank decision. So if he looked back at that night in video, he might say, "Oh, I should have given that, or I shouldn't have." But at the end of it, we trust refs to do it. And if a ref calls a free, he calls a free. And that's the way it is. Now, if a ref, sometimes we've seen the other week, particularly down in Cork, Dublin, was a couple of farcical sending offs. Now, he was a new ref, Greg, in the county football. He needs to look at that and improve. And I suppose that's another thing about the league. You know, some refs are learning as well. But this fact of saying, defining the tackle and this is a free in one part of the country and on another. No, it isn't. That's just the nature of the game. Get on with it.
Yeah.
That would be my thing.
Right, 8 to you, ladies. Boss Barney Corrin's in with you as well. Nice to be able to come onto the deal debate with a bit of success behind you, so it should be a nice chat. They beat St Mary's last Wednesday in Convoy.
I never give off the refs, by the way, Greg. People probably saying, listen, they help me.
Well, you know, I'll be honest with you, right? No, but I think I talked to you enough now. I knew you probably weren't going to jump on the bandwagon of bashing refs. I just think maybe, you know, like it's excuses stuff.
I'm not being a hypocrite because I used to give off Stington, but no,
everyone's allowed to mature. Look at the age here. You're allowed to change.
Thanks. You can see the greyness in my chin here. I'm maturing. But my thing was that, say you were getting pulled and dragged inside, I was always maybe overacting it then, that I was getting mauled all together, so we would keep an eye on it. So in the back of my mind, it was something to kind of help me and the team. But
I know what you're saying.
It probably came off. I look back and I'd seen an odd clip and I'm like, geez, I'm shouting and roaring around.
I think there's a bit of consistency required. If there's 3 or 4 fellas around someone, right, and it's like, oh, that's clearly a foul. If it then goes the other way for overcarrying, the public, that's when it gets really, you know, because that's like, hold on a second, it's not just, you know, that's an interpretation, it's frustrating, it changes the flow of play, it's a turnover, I think that's when really winds people up.
It can't be perfect.
No, of course not, but that's the human emotion.
When you have a ref just judging at the second, like, and there's players around him, and I know people don't like that, but there's no way of stopping that. So my thing would be, listen, that forward needs not to get into that space, or the person on the ball, sorry, doesn't have to be forward. He doesn't have to be in that space. He needs to stay away from the trouble, you know. One second, Greg.
All right, okay, that's Brendan Devaney there. The podcast, it's live tonight, by the way, just after 7 o'clock, just after the 7 p.m. news. It's broadcast live, and of course then you can listen to the podcast on our website, highlandradio.com, and the DL debates in association with Sarah's Kitchen at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Come here, have a lovely Monday. We'll chat to you later. We look forward to the show already, and tune in live or listen on the pod. All right, take care of yourself, Bren. That's Brendan Devaney there. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number, 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074. He's literally just straight into his breakfast. I think I preferred it when we didn't do video calls, maybe. All right, 086 60 25,000 or call 074 91 25,000. Caller says, Donegal are worse under Carr and Boner, pure and utter garbage on Saturday night. Are we not in a process of building a changing of the guard? I don't know. All right. Referee wasn't great. Player on the ball is now being mauled by 2, 3 and 4 players. Gets punished for overcarrying then. Donegal still not moving the ball forward quick enough and allowed the opposition to get their defence up. Okay, that's another person's point of view. Busy again on the lines this morning, Monday morning. Greg, Paul played the songs on Saturday and I picked Elephants. Reminds me of Leonard Cohen. I can hear every word. That comes in from Mary. Mary, listen, thanks for your text. But wait to hear them all. They're all brilliant in their own way. And I'm not just saying that, to be honest with you. Fantastic, James and Catherine. Good luck, says another. Brilliant performance by Charles James and the Rise. Such a beautiful song. And I think actually once he told me of the meaning behind it and I re-listened to it, that it kind of hit home a bit more then too as well, to be honest with you. Oh my God, I'm an old lady and that singer James is fantastic. Can you play him again? Don't usually even notice. An older lady, you know, well, it's up to you how you describe yourselves. But yeah, he's got a great voice and a great sound. Good morning, Greg. Best wishes to James and his band. James isn't just a great singer, he's also a really nice guy. That comes in from Michael Kavanagh. Indeed, Michael, he really does come across as such. And beautiful sound, very easy listening, says another. And all 4 songs are in our playlists now, by the way, so you'll be hearing them over the course of the month as well. And as I say, every single one of them, well worth the airplay. Right, okay, let us take a break. Yes, it's time for a break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today. Are you building, rebuilding, or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest, Donegal New Build and Rebuilds 2023. It will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Admission is free to this 3-day event from March 10th to March 12th. This ad is kindly sponsored by AIB Letterkenny.
Hiya.
11 years, Sarah. 11 years.
Oh my God, is everything okay?
It's all off.
You and Paul?
No, my bank. We're breaking up.
Oh, Jane. There's plenty more fish in the CCPC money tool.
Breaking up with your bank? Quick, find another match with CCPC's free independent current account money tool. Find your new account now at ccpc.ie/move. From the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission.
Stop Highland Radio are going to Scotland from Monday the 1st of May to Thursday the 4th of May with the very best of music, and we would love for you to join us. Staying at the 4-star Crown Plaza Hotel in Glasgow, we are bringing with us some of the biggest country stars, including myself, David James, Declan Ernie and Robert Mazzell, to name a few. You will enjoy luxury travel to Glasgow, 3 nights dinner, bed and breakfast with music and entertainment each evening. Join us on the Highland Fling to Glasgow this May for only €575 per person. To book, call Highland Radio today on 074 91 25000. Early booking is advisable. Single supplement applies.
All right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. It's Monday Matters time, and we are heading towards International Women's Day. It's on Wednesday, March the 8th, and we've got Danielle Bonner, coordinator of the Donegal Women's Collective, in studio with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Great to have you. Very calm now. All of a sudden, the microphone's open, aren't you?
Well, you have to be. It's Monday morning.
Okay. And also delighted to welcome into studio Anya McLaughlin, who's Development Officer with the Inishowen Development Partnership. And it's about a celebration of women. Well, I'll ask straight off, Danielle, what's International Women's Day?
We were having this conversation just outside. It's a celebration of women. Every year, obviously, we as an organisation we celebrate women all the time, but just taking the day to celebrate women, but also highlight maybe some of the challenges that women are experiencing. So we're delighted this year to be partnering with IDP to celebrate women in Inishowen, and we were saying how excited some of the women are that we will be celebrating. So
talk to me about how we're going to do that, Anya.
Okay, so I suppose we put a call out across Inishowen for nominations for inspirational women in the community. These could be women that have helped somebody or have taken on a campaign in the community or done something that really should be recognised. So we did that call out, and we were astonished by the number of women that were nominated, and we've over 13 women that we're going to be delighted to be able to present awards to at our event tomorrow night in Ballyliffin. And just to note that we worked with a social enterprise, Spriga Sport, who's well known, who has actually sponsored our awards for tomorrow night. So as part of that, we also did sold tickets for the event, and within a matter of days, all 150 tickets were sold. So this really tells us, I suppose, the need for this type of event and the popularity of it. So we're delighted to be able to bring it to Inishowen this year.
Yeah, Danielle, for sure. Danielle, in terms of things are improving, aren't they, or are they? Because it's not really for me to say. In terms of us recognising how the system was set up, by the way. We're talking more about how women are represented, the lack of representation. We are maybe starting to take more seriously medical issues that primarily affect women. But it's still it's still like we're talking about it, but then sometimes you think, well, is anything really changing? Is it just
things?
Things
have changed and improved. Cause we're saying this, sometimes we dwell on the negative, but there are positives. Things have significantly changed for women, but we know there are fundamental issues. Like you raised the medical issue. Sometimes medical things that women experience aren't taken seriously. There's a whole
if there's a crisis, right, in health. It seems that invariably it affects women.
Well, exactly.
Do you know, if you think of all the crises and the problems that we've had.
Well, COVID was a prime example of this. We were just talking about this. We did research for the 2 years of COVID, and some of the things that highlighted for women is like, we were saying this, like even in relationships, okay, there was very often conversations was not had. It was an assumption that the woman was going to be the homeschooler or the home carer, and both parents were in the house, and that caused some hostility between couples, and that was highlighted with COVID because it was never discussed before. You know, I think the UN and some of the EU institutions have spoken about how COVID potentially has pushed back gender equality for women by 25 years. That's a lot. You know, you said what are some of the challenges like here, or nationally, globally and locally, women's representation is a major issue.
And in some parts of the world, we're going backwards.
Well, Afghanistan is a prime example. I have friends that I know that work there, and locals, and like, it's devastating what's happened there. And we're seeing other parts. Like I always say, we can never take gender equality or equality period actually across the board, because we've seen it with minority groups as well. So that's why like we still exist. Like, because you can never take anything for granted. For
sure. And I think over the last couple of years, for whatever reason, I don't know if I don't feel progress is being made. I think we're at least stagnant, or there is actually quite a vocal pushback against the Me Too movement, for example, and others, like an actual pushback. In other words, hold on, you take a step back here. Don't lose a run of yourself.
Now,
are you getting that?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. It's a pendulum that things swing, and equality, people seem to think equality means if they're going to get something's going to be taken away from somebody else.
Threatened
that
by
is
equality.
that is not how equality works. But then that goes back to the question of why there is an inequality. It's very much related to power. Some people not even realise they have power, but they do. And actually the fact that they don't have to recognise that they have power is part of the fact that you have
Well,
power.
see, I think too, sometimes sometimes people's views can be misaligned. In other words, like, so if you have an issue with big corporation, big pharma, you know, profiting from war, profiting from the energy crises, and all that type of stuff, really, you should be aligned to changing how these systems work. Because it's generally old men in grey suits that are behind the scenes. But you might find then that people's views are strangely aligned on certain issues. Does that make sense?
Change is not an easy thing. And my background before I was doing stuff with gender equality was conflict resolution. And conflict can be a natural state of being, but it's how you address that. You know, and even addressing like gender equality is almost like a conflict for somebody, because you're questioning their belief system, you're questioning stuff that they've been raised with all their life. You may be having to question your family. You know, and families are dynamic within themselves, you know.
And then there are various voices within any particular movement as well, which kind of can rub those within it.
Well, you can sometimes have allies, which I have discovered, that can sometimes be detrimental to you, and they mean well. Yeah. But it's a difficult one. I work with young people, and some of them really get it, and they are very progressive.
I think there's a couple of generations, I think in terms of changing a lot of people now, I don't know if that's actually achievable. I believe any change will actually probably come with future generations.
Yes and no. I don't totally buy that, because I hear this, but they were raised like in terms of racism. Well, that's how it was.
You can only look at where we are. You see, that's the
but
thing. You know?
I'm a positive person, Greg.
Yeah, but I've spoken to people who I've spoken to people of colour, and I've spoken to people from within the gay community, and they said in the last couple of years they have been subjected to abuse they never experienced.
And I can believe that. You know, like we had a meeting with them.
And that's not just here too, that's in Europe as well.
Well, and this is actually, discrimination is like a family. Racism, homophobia, and gender sexism actually can very often be related. You know, I did years ago did a patriarchy course with the girls in Loreto Convent, and we were talking about women's experiences. And this just gives you an example here. There was one black student in the class, and I'd showed them a video of one of my friends doing an experiment in the UK about black women often, if they have afros, have this thing about people touching their hair without.
Yeah, I heard that.
And so I showed them this video, and the one girl put her hand up. She's like, "That's me." All her friends just turned their heads, and they were like, their mouths open, and they're like, "We're so sorry." So you have thing there to do with her race, and she's a woman, because black men don't get this.
Bald.
So there is very much interlinked.
Bald men do.
Well, Greg.
No, and I mean, no, I'm not. I actually don't mean it funny, and it's no way to take away from that person's experience, but it happens all the time. Rubbing your head.
I don't recall ever touching a bald man's head. A bald man's head, but it is, and it goes back to.
I'm not in any way trying to trivialise that person's experience.
But that position I wanted to make clear is very much about someone thinks they're entitled to do that, and where did you get that entitlement from? And it's because maybe that person you think is black and they're not maybe going to challenge you on that you have because I'm mixed race. When I was young I had a little afro and my teacher did it all the time and I thought there's something wrong with me, and it wasn't till many years later that we had this conversation with my friend because she has a massive afro and I was like, I wasn't paranoid, and then all these other so it's having these conversations for people to talk about some of the issues.
Were you bothered by it at the time?
Yes.
Okay, you were.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God,
so
yes.
In other words, it wasn't sort of.
Well, I didn't have power to challenge that because this person was authority for me.
Yeah, and the only other thing though was I said, I just think people who are of a certain view, they feel more vocal now. And you feel like you can demonstrate it in public, and you've got backers. You've got support.
Social media's allow that to happen. So, but we are delighted for tomorrow evening.
Yeah. So come here, Anya. We don't even have to try and flog tickets. I'm useless unless I'm plugging and flogging something.
We don't need you. We've got our own superpowers.
You know what I mean? What am I here for? So it's a sellout. Yeah. But and you mentioned something just. It wasn't in passing. It was quite important on you. Just how this is something that's been hit on here. Maybe you didn't realise that. Should we do this? And then everyone's nominating people, want to be there, want to be part of it. It's sort of like it's blown up on you.
Absolutely. I mean, we didn't know how this would be received. We didn't know how many nominations we would get, and we really were blown away. So we're delighted to be able to highlight the achievements of these women at tomorrow night's event. So yeah, it's fantastic.
And can you give us an idea of or is it going to be revealed in the night? I don't want to know spoilers.
Well, we have a number of women, I mean, from all walks of life, from people who have overcome personal struggles within their own life, who have led campaigns to improve the health service here, and Donegal, to professional women who have started their own business in the midst of COVID. So we have an array, but certainly we will keep it under wraps for tomorrow night.
We know who they are.
Okay, but I have a feeling this is going to be very important to the people who've been, because we've been going through something similar here in calling on people to celebrate, the contribution of other people, and it's an easy thing to do, but it means so much to recognise the work that people do.
We were just saying this, that sometimes life isn't easy, and sometimes we're busy all the time, and it's like from our point of view is that we need to create spaces where we can just pause and just go, actually, this is what we've done, and I'm going to say this: you are amazing.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I think women don't hear that enough, and they put themselves down, or they don't. Because I know some of these women I know, and one of them I know personally, and she is absolutely amazing. And I know for a fact that she inspired me, and she's inspired so many other women, and has done stuff for their mental health and just given them confidence. And I think that's why International Women's Day is so important, that we recognise those, and it's delighted that we can have something big in Donegal, in a show to celebrate women.
Sing Tonicity. Is a band, is it?
No, it's a lady.
Choir?
No.
A person.
Oh, one person. Siobhan Heaney. She was at our event last year. We did an event in June of last year called Empower Her in a Show, and she was our icebreaker. So she got everybody up on their feet, basically using their vocal expression to, I suppose, improve their inner feelings and get all the room, I suppose, up and get that energy charged.
Equalizer, isn't it? It's an equalizer. Live music, and your MC on the evening is Diane Greer.
Yeah.
And as well as entertainment as well, panel talks.
Yeah, we have 3 women from our community. We have Rosina Toner, who you'll know, and also Garda Anna.
That's a powerful person.
Yes.
It's just come to the fore through her own situation.
Yeah.
Achieved, I would argue, achieved so much in a short space of time in terms of getting to the ears that need to hear what she had to say and stuff. Really quite remarkable.
Yeah.
Sorry, who else?
And we have another lady as well who has come here from Ukraine, Olga. And we also have Olga.
Olga.
Olga, my Ukrainian wouldn't be amazing, so I can't pronounce her surname, unfortunately. And we also have Garrett Anna McGrannon as well. We'll be chatting about her work in the community.
That's actually going to be a really interesting conversation, then. Right, okay, so what else is happening on International Women's Day? Are you involved in this?
We're involved in this.
Danielle?
We are, I was saying, I'm not here on International Women's Day. I'm actually out of the country. But
it is International Women's Day, so you can be a woman somewhere else.
And actually, guess what? I'm going somewhere that actually is very relevant to this. But I know there are events going across. There's events going on in Stranola, I think, with the cultural platform. Also, Councillor Neve Kennedy, she's doing a flip of the county council, having the women, obviously they're out of the 37, only 4 are women, so there's going to be 4 men and the rest are going to be women. So I know she's been pulling women from the community to not have a debate, but have a session and such. So that will be, I'd love to have been there for that. But it would be lovely to see the pictures and what's said at that.
And it's about celebrating women, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. That is the core of our event.
I think everyone would prefer if we didn't have to have particular days. It's like we were talking earlier on about the next 2 weeks is fair trade, promoting fair trade, right? I mean, people go, well, why do you have those 2 weeks? Well, no one wants them. If it's a norm that it's fair trade, you don't require 2 weeks for it, right? If it's a situation in life where women are treated equally, have equal opportunity, equal representation in positions of power, if that's what they want, you don't have to have International Women's Days then, do you?
But there is an International Men's Day. You do know that, Greg?
Of course I do.
When is it?
I don't know. Whenever Caroline tells me it's
November,
tomorrow.
19th of November.
But what do we use it for? Is it not normally to promote men's health and stuff?
Well, it is, and there's some of the challenges. We were just saying this out here, that like we work for gender equality and obviously work with women, but the very thing that we work for benefits men as well.
We often have the stuff available to us. It's just telling us to go and use it, right?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
And that's the question. Why
I can't believe I'm counter-arguing. Why are you doing this to me? You're twisting the tables.
Well, that's what we have to do to get things changed. You know, like everything benefits everything. If we change the system, everyone's going to benefit. Benefit by that.
Anya, anything else you want to mention?
Later on in the week, we have a couple other initiatives for women. We have 2 courses for introduction to menopause. We have one in Greencastle on the 9th of March and also in Kilmany on the 15th of March. So we'd welcome all women. We have still places available for that.
And there's a massive appetite for information in that regard because finally now people feel they can say the word. It's not a swear word. Right, okay, so that's another. I think that's an advance over the last wee while. Anything else at all?
No, I mean, we always have initiatives, IDP across all the community, across all genders and all abilities and intergenerational as well. So keep an eye out on our website for upcoming courses and events.
It's not about them and us. We're all the same.
Yeah,
we are all the same fundamentally, aren't we?
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. Do you need to add anything, Danielle?
The same as Anya, we've got loads of stuff coming up. We'll have 2 courses actually, wellness, nature and wellness for women, one in Buncrana.
And your wellness thing's really important. There's a lot of heroes out there, men and women, that are under huge pressure and they just, as I kind of, again, it was mentioned on the show earlier on, they batter on thinking that's the norm, but self-care is so important. How can you care for other people if you don't find space for yourself?
Exactly, and it's okay to take... It's not, because we hear the word self, but you think you're being selfish if you stop. It's not being selfish. It's actually the very opposite for yourself. You know, like we're community workers, and I know there's many community workers that, you know, we just need time out, and everyone needs time out, even yourself, Greg.
I know. I think anyone listening to this show and stuff I say, really, it's just me talking about myself.
So this is your wellness session.
This is it.
Does Highland Radio realise this?
I think it's me venting. Right, but anyway, it's always a pleasure to have you on, Danielle. Danielle Bonner, coordinator of the Donegal Women's Collective, and also Anya, your first time on the radio?
Yeah, with you,
okay.
Oh, I should say, check out our Facebook page, WCI Donegal, because that's where we post all our upcoming courses, and we've actually been delighted to be funded by ETV by a lot of courses this year, so they'll be rolling off the Facebook pages, and we have a WhatsApp group. If they go on there, they can get the details for that.
And what I was going to say is, Anya, you're a natural, so obviously it must have been whoever you were on with before.
Dave, yes.
Certainly nothing to do with me then. All right, listen, thanks so much.
You.
And It's Wednesday, March 8th, day after tomorrow. Danielle, always a pleasure, as I say. Arnie, great to have you on this programme for the first time, and hopefully we'll see you again. Danielle Boners, coordinator of the Donegal Women's Collective. Anya McLaughlin, development officer with the Inishowen Development Partnership. And check out their socials for a lot of the stuff we were talking about and signposts of what's coming up and what have you. And enjoy the celebrations on what night's that event?
Tomorrow night.
Okay.
Yeah. We're getting in there early. We're getting in there before the rest. So tomorrow night, the Ballafin Hotel. Doors open from 7 to 9, but registration from 6:45. So come along.
Okay, and it runs from 7 to 9.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks so much indeed. We'll be back with more after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
We at Highland Radio love Irish music, and we want to show our support. Throughout Irish Music Month this March, in partnership with Hot Press Magazine, we're asking you to support the Irish musicians, artists and bands who make every party, every drive home and every day magic. That's right. To celebrate Irish Music Month on Highland Radio, we're asking you to support Irish artists and musicians by buying Irish albums, Irish tickets, Irish t-shirts and Irish music merch. Irish musicians have shown that they are right up there with the best in the world, so let's support them by buying Irish. Proudly supported by Highland Radio, Hot Press, IBI and the BAI Sound and Vision Fund.
PDO Thread Lifts, the ultimate non-surgical lift for the skin, improving facial contours, lifting and tightening jowls, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows, are available at Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. Also offering fat-dissolving treatments, dermal fillers and laser treatments for all skin conditions. Hair and makeup packages also available. Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor, 07495 325 75.
New trainers from your favourite brands at Brian McCormick Sports, Brooks, Asics, On Running and Hoka. New Hoka Clifton 9 has a wider toe box and it's softer, giving you that Hoka spongy feeling, making your run more responsive. Step into our safe size experience, have your feet measured and update your gait analysis. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny. Look the part, play the part on bmcsports.ie.
Are you building, moving or renovating in 2023? Think Irwin's Expert Electrical for all your home appliances, big and small. With all the top brands including Bosch, Samsung, LG, Neff and more. Secure your products now with a deposit until you're ready. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Longcom's bonus time promotion is back at McElhinney's. Simply purchase 2 Longcom products, 1 to be skincare, to receive a free gift of 7 beauty essentials. Plus, when you purchase a 3rd Longcom product, receive a full-size bonus gift. Visit us in-store or shop online at McElhinney's.com to enjoy this exclusive offer, available until March 11th. Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Lanzarote is back. Check out our new summer flights to Lanzarote with Ryanair starting March 28th. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, now let's have a look at that weather forecast. Sunny spells and well-scattered showers to start today. Outbreaks of rain moving in from the north, turning colder and clearer during the rain with highs of just 4 or 5 degrees. Light to moderate northwesterly breezes, turning very cold in the evening with icy stretches developing. So our gritters will be out at the crack of dawn, don't you know, to try and make us, help us get to work as safely and work and school or wherever you have to go caring for someone, whatever you might have to do out on the roads. But we'll still have to be careful and cautious. It's going to be a chilly one. Betty Holmes is chairperson of Donegal Action for Cancer Care and is with me on the programme now. Betty, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Greg.
Right, okay. Just so you quoted there in the newspapers about a significant drop in cervical cancer screenings when comparing 2022 to 2021. Do we need to sort of maybe compare going back another couple of years to find out, was there a delay through COVID that we saw in 2021 and then that wasn't reflected in 2022? Or what's your reading of the figures, Betty?
Well, Greg, we were absolutely horrified and shocked to discover the figures, because the figures for 2021 was 9,444 women had received their cervical screening in Donegal, and in 2022 it was 7,331. That's a drop of 2,113 women who did not actually have their cervical screening in last year in Donegal. And that is very, very distressing, very worrying. And Greg, yes, I know that we talked about COVID and all, and we went through COVID and the difficulties that people had and businesses had and health had and everything had. But if we have over 9,000 women availing of their cervical screening in 2021, to have a drop of 2,030 or 113 in last year, Greg, there's questions that have to be answered.
Well, a couple of them...
Questions have to be asked and questions have to be answered.
A couple of questions would be, how many invites were sent out? Was the level of invites sent out lower year on year? Was it people that didn't show up? Did they not receive an invitation? I think really for context, that would be really important information too. Would it, Betty?
Yeah, well, we actually wrote to Cervical Check on Thursday afternoon, actually just like outlining our concerns and whatever, and asking could we get some information back on it. But we will actually be following this up today, Greg, at a higher level, because the HSE said that their invites for screening are up to date since 2021. So if their invites are up to date from 2021, how can a figure of 2,113, and cervical screening is generally done in your GP practice. So, I can't see that access to your GP having an impact like that. There's major issues here. And we go back, women, I'm doing this from memory again, at 25 to 29 have their cervical screening every 3 years. Women from 30 to 65 have their screening every 5 years. But Greg, a figure of 2,113 women, according to Cervical Check, not turning up for their cervical screening is really distressing. And for us in DACC, as I said, we will be following it up because the answers have to be got. And also we need to call on our...
Yeah, before you get onto that too, we know that a percentage of those screenings that didn't happen would have flagged something that needed further examination. Yep. Do you know what I mean? It's not like these are people and something would have been spotted in some of them. So there are people listening to this programme who may not have turned up, or for whatever reason, and we know how timely it is to catch these things early. Do you know what I mean? So it is really, really significant that this is going to affect people who aren't going to potentially get the best outcome for themselves. I'm trying to choose my language carefully to not scare anyone, but that's the importance of this.
It is, Greg, and the reality is it's too high of a figure, not to have major worries and concerns about. And again, if you're a woman who felt that you should have had an invite and didn't get one, we ask that you contact your GP practice, find out when you had your last one. We know GP practices are under pressure, but there's nothing wrong with ringing up, making the inquiry. When did I have my last cervical screening? If you didn't have an invite, or if you had an invite and didn't go, please, you owe it to yourself primarily and to your family to actually get yourself screened. And with a figure as high as that, for us in DACC, we make no apology to the women of Donegal to follow up and to their HSE, to the GPs, whoever it takes. Follow it up. If somebody tells you, no, you've had yours last year or 2 years ago, or, within the designated time frame, that's good. Make note of who told you that by as well. But there's questions there, Greg. There's no way I would honestly believe that 2,113 women in Donegal last year didn't turn up for an appointment. I can't get my head around that at all. Questions have to be asked. Answers have to be got.
Right, but Betty, you've been around these issues for a good while now, doing amazing work, by the way. Just let me say that.
Thank you.
What do you believe is going on here? What's your gut telling you?
My gut. Now, this is just a total personal gut feeling. I believe with all the difficulties that have existed through COVID and carried on, and changes of staff and offices and everything else, I don't believe in my gut. I don't believe that 2,113 invites were sent out, Greg, and that women didn't attend. I believe that there was a large portion of those invites didn't go out and weren't received.
Is it possible that people have a perception that they're not going to get into their GP, that it's not worth the hassle, that you can't get an appointment? Because I receive so many messages into this show where people are frustrated with GP services. I'm not in any way blaming GPs, and I know the pressure they're under, and they're dealing with an awful lot of people now. The population in this country has grown by 5,000 or 6,000 in this county alone, mostly women. So let's not forget that either. And now I don't know how that's going to play into figures into the future either. And I think that's something really quite significant. There's an awful lot of women in Donegal now that weren't here last year or the year before. How are we making sure that they're screened if they need to be screened, and so on and so forth? But firstly, actually, maybe it'd be interesting to get your views on that. What's being done to reach these women that are in the county now that weren't here last year?
Well, I do believe, yes, that there is difficulties around access to GPs. There's no two ways about that. And that's why I would call on women who are in that age group to make contact with their GP service. Follow up if you've got it, if whatever. There is difficulty because when you referred to it, Greg, it just reminded me, I've had a lot of contact myself about people having difficulty getting access. And you're right, that's a figure that I hadn't thought on. The increase in the number of women who are actually in Donegal at present, who may not even be, aware that they've got it. Where's if they're getting invites, are they going to their proper address? Are they getting them? It's a minefield, Greg, but it's too serious a situation, and it's too serious a condition to just be left to be talked about today and let go. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we don't want to scare anybody, just like you've said yourself, but this is really serious stuff.
A caller says... My doctor's office rang me recently saying that I hadn't made an appointment for my cervical check and wanted to check why not. I explained I didn't know it was due. I didn't get a letter as a reminder to make an appointment. I always had before, but not this time. Wow. Maybe others didn't get their invites either. I made my appointment immediately when the doctor's office rang me. I've since had my check and everything is good. Every woman needs to attend these checkups. It's so important. Now, there's a website that people can go to, and it is hse.ie, or just Google cervical check. You can find out who should have cervical screening. You can check the cervical check register. You can get information about what happens at your appointment. You can check if your cervical screening test is due, or you can find a GP or a clinic for a free cervical screening check. And to get all that information, it's the first result that comes up is you search cervical check on Google and you'll get into that website. But listen, Betty, I know you've a lot of questions that you're going to continue to get answers to, and I would love when you get them for you to rejoin us so we can be proactive, and I can be proactive with you, and I can have a constructive input maybe into getting women who haven't had the check to get that check done, to make sure, like that lady that was just on to us, all was
and
good, everything is good.
Ringing in.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank her for ringing in. And the other thing as well, Greg, we're talking so much, and I mean this respectfully, about National Women's Day and all on Wednesday. women of Donegal, make it a priority for yourself to follow up on your cervical check screening. I don't believe everybody has had their invite. I don't believe they've had the letter. I know there's been difficulties. And go for your cervical screening. Make it a priority for yourself this day and this week. And remember, the life you save could be your own, and that is a priority. It's scary stuff. And we've looked at, Dr. Scully has made his recommendations. There's 50 recommendations in that, Greg. We as DACC will be following up to see how many of those 50 recommendations have been implemented. But the priority today is the women of Donegal between age 25 and 65. Follow up and see if you've had your screening, if you're due appointment, please.
Yep, okay. And you can check your register and everything. All right, listen. A caller says here, I got my invite for my smear test. I had it 2 weeks ago and I paid €50.
Not to my knowledge.
No, they did it at GPs by the looks of things.
Free.
So
no.
we need to check into that because that person shouldn't have incurred a cost there. Listen, thanks, Betty. Keep up the great work, and we'll be back to you for an update. All right, bye-bye. Take care. Betty Holmes there. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Alan O'Reilly of Carlow Weather is with us. Alan, good morning.
Good morning, Greg.
I must say, I do enjoy your interviews with newspapers because you're always measured in your interviews. And then this headline, this massive headline about weather forecaster warns of 75-foot drifts, and then you read it in the article, and it's you just being your normal self, giving the information as it is, but not being too dramatic in it. The headline writers then have to make something of your interesting comments, Alan. It's my guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it does get a little bit frustrating, to be honest with you, because I get messages with screenshots of the headlines, and then I'm like, did you actually read what it says?
Yes.
No, of course not.
Okay, so we've a status yellow ice warning. I think it's coming down from the north. We're probably going to see the worst of what is in store for the next wee while, Alan, and what is in store?
Yes, so showers will push south. The good news is the sunshine is going to return. However, the problem with that is much colder air is going to flood down from the north. So it's going to turn bitterly cold for the next few days. There will be some wintry showers feeding into the north later tonight, early tomorrow. So there could be a few wintry falls, generally small showers, not too many showers, but still a risk. But a very icy start tomorrow and a very cold day tomorrow with a biting wind chill. And it's going to stay cold then into Wednesday as well. Generally, not too many showers around and some sunny spells, but it's getting very tricky for Thursday into Friday. Now, unfortunately, the weather models are struggling, which makes this very frustrating trying to forecast it. And I'm sure very frustrating for your listeners looking at all the apps changing and the forecast changing. But what I would say is, especially for Donegal, is keep up to date with the weather forecast very carefully this week. There is a risk of some heavy sleet and snow Thursday into Friday. Now, it could be rain, sleet at lower levels and snow at higher levels, or it could be snow at lower levels. And there is a risk of some disruptive snow for a time Thursday into Friday. So unfortunately, I can't give you a clear kind of indication of how much snow, where it's going to hit. All I would say is definitely keep up to date with the forecast because there is a risk of some snow this week.
And there's a risk of no snow either, but there's enough of a risk that you see worthwhile mentioning it, which is good advice. And this weather, it's only early March. I suppose with the brighter mornings and brighter evenings, we might be thinking we're actually in the proper spring and into the summer. But this weather's not necessarily unusual as such.
No, we have seen cold spells. March of many weathers can bring us that. I suppose we were spiked. Well, most of areas of the country were spiked with a very mild and dry February, which might have lulled us into a false sense of spring has sprung. But certainly back to colder and more wintry style weather for this week. And some, I know you'll know the topography better than me, but I know there's some high roads in Donegal that people have got stuck on before. If you're traveling those, especially this week, take great care and keep a close eye on the forecast because, as I say, very icy conditions regardless of whether that snow comes. Showers and then ice, then freezing will lead to ice. But certainly a risk on especially those higher ground areas of some significant snowfall Thursday into Friday. It does look like temperatures will increase for a little bit, but they could drop again next week. Now, northern areas could hold on to the cold. So it all depends on where this front of rain, sleet and snow goes. But the north of the country is likely to see the worst of the cold spell in terms of the longevity of it. So unfortunately, those heating bills, Greg, are not going to be very kind.
No, and and fair play to Alan for recognising that in your forecast too. It is, it's true, it's real. Okay, Alan, thanks so much. We appreciate your time as always.
Take care. Cheers.
All right, Alan Riley there, who is of Carlow Weather. Just a heads up, nothing's guaranteed at this point, but there could be some disruptive snowfalls Thursday evening into Friday. A caller says again, everything is about women, Greg. Women can say whatever they want to men and there's no recourse. If a man even looks at a woman, there is outrage. You are the same as the mainstream media. You just want to hear women's views on everything, but you do not look at the balance between each gender. And listen, I appreciate you might feel that, but it's not the case. Half of the people listening to this show are women. A lot of the voices are men's. We try and strike a balance as much as we like. But listen, it's very, very clear that in certain elements of life, it's tougher to be a woman than it is a fella. And if we're trying to sort of talk about women's issues, it doesn't in any way affect men. We're not trying to do that, or I'm not trying to do that. It's just that it's to give everyone a platform and to best as ensure as possible that we're all have a fair crack of the whip. I appreciate your time texting in nonetheless. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9. Have a lovely day. Thanks to Caroline, who researched and produced the show, and Anya working with us as well. We've more live music for you tomorrow and so much more besides. Tune in from 9.
Discover your dream Donegal wedding.